Humanity's downfall wasn't an epic explosion. Reality just glitched. Video game monstrosities crashed into our world, deleting the human race like a trashed beta test. Yet, as reality crashed, fate hit reset, dragging him back to the very first login screen. Now, he alone carries bloody doomsday memories. This playthrough, he isn't just surviving. Armed with the legendary Soul Reaper class, he doesn't need party members. He'll forge his own. He's raising a Shadow Legion to shatter the system before it corrupts Earth. Doomsday claimed victory once. Never again. Let's dive right in. Inside the virtual realm of Immortal World, a lethal pursuit tore across the sun-scorched Badlands. A desperate party sprinted for their lives, ruthlessly hunted by a pack of level 3 phantom desert wolves. Escape felt impossible. The cleric panicked, cursing their trash. Luck, they were just farming a pathetic level. One sand scorpion a minute ago. How did they aggro a whole wolf pack? Panicking, the cleric begged their squad leader, a seasoned warrior, for a survival strat. Pointing furiously ahead, she barked at them to push their limits. A thick grove of sandalwood trees loomed nearby. Phantom wolves couldn't climb, meaning those branches were their only safe zone. Gritting her teeth, the warrior braced for impact. These beasts were notoriously ruthless. Once they locked onto a target, they would hunt it down to the bitter end. Their previous raid had already drained them, shattering their last 2 pieces of dark iron gear. Was this really going to be a squad wipe? Suddenly, disaster struck. Their squad's mage, Xiao He, tripped and collapsed into the dust. The entire team froze in absolute horror. Watching the wolves lunge for the kill, her teammates screamed out desperate warnings. But her spellcasting animation was just too slow. Out of nowhere, salvation arrived. A flying blade impaled, the lead wolf instantly canceling its fatal strike. Then the weapon's mysterious owner stepped out. The main character, Lin Yuan, entered the chat. Still trembling, Xiao He stared in absolute shock. Was this guy her savior? Checking his stats, her jaw dropped. A level 1 mage, he was a total newbie. Unfazed, Yuan slowly pulled back his dark hood. He locked eyes with the ravenous pack, casually mocking the level 3 mobs for being weak. Triggered, the savage beasts charged forward. Gripping his hilt, Yuan dashed straight into the danger zone. As the massive wolves leaped for his throat, his blade danced beautifully. 1 strike, 1 kill. He flawlessly executed 4 phantom wolves with a basic starter sword. The observing girls were absolutely mind-blown by his skill, but the relief didn't last. Xiao He pointed a trembling finger at the horizon. A massive, bloodthirsty horde of wolves had just spawned in. The cleric completely lost it, screaming about their sudden spawn rate. The mage quickly realized the terrifying truth. The dead wolves dropped an aggro scent, luring every phantom beast nearby. The squad leader screamed at Yuan to run for his life. A horde that size could easily wipe out a beginner village. They would turn him into pixelated dust. But Yuan just tossed a cocky smirk. Flicking his wrist, he booted up the system interface. Glowing digital cards materialized, prompting him to deploy his undead skeleton infantry. Hitting confirm, he gracefully swept his hand forward. The glowing cards slammed into the dirt, erupting into a colossal dark magic summoning circle. Crackling level 3 skeletal knights dragged themselves from the desert sands. But the enraged wolves didn't flinch, launching themselves into the carnage. With a devilish grin, our main character dared the beasts to try and shred him. His skeletal vanguard violently clashed against the furry horde. Yuan didn't just watch, he dove directly into the meat grinder, fighting flawlessly alongside his undead summons. 15 minutes later, the massive raid was cleared. Wiping out 16 feral wolves netted him 160 experience points, plus some low-tier loot drops. Fangs, pelts, and sharp claws. He swiftly looted the battlefield. Meanwhile, the girls hiding like frightened non-player characters behind their rock cover were absolutely stunned. Did this solo player really just clear a horde? Xiao He cautiously approached, asking if he was a high-level mage. Was that some crazy hidden summoning spell? Even as a mage herself, she had never witnessed magic like that. Yuan coldly shut her theory down. Curiosity piquing, she desperately asked for his true identity. Keeping his overpowered secrets locked tight, he merely offered an arrogant smirk. Because he possesses the forbidden SSS rank class, Soul Reaper. His name is Lin Yuan, a reincarnator dragged straight from the doomed blue planet. Exactly 3 years prior, astounded scientists detected a colossal magic-infused planet that had randomly materialized right behind their home world. Then 3 months ago, a shady megacorporation shock-dropped a virtual reality masterclass called Immortal World, completely breaking the internet globally. Players strapped on high-tech virtual reality headsets plugging into the Matrix, where they were instantly sorted into 4 core combat classes. Grinding levels gave them the raw power to slaughter digital monsters. Initially, nobody panicked, assuming it was just another harmless AAA title. But reality broke when top-tier players began manifesting their broken gaming skills in real life. Society quickly crowned these awakened humans as chosen ones. Shortly after, a twisted faction of virtual zealots worshipping the sinister evil star god glitched their way right into the physical world. They sparked a merciless massacre. That horrific bloodbath violently robbed Yuan of his parents. Humanity finally united the entire globe, waging an all-out war against the fanatic cult. Yet mankind still fell. Yuan breathed his last during the final apocalyptic standoff, but fate pulled a massive reverse card. Barely an hour post-mortem, he instantly regressed to the exact moment he created his first account. The system instantly blessed him with a forbidden class. In this second life, he must speedrun his progression before history violently repeats itself. To shield Earth and his loved ones, he needed raw power. Time to harvest these wolf souls. The second his fingers grazed a corpse, pitch-black aura erupted from the beastly remains. Suddenly, a glowing system prompt materialized, asking if he wanted to awaken. The spectral desert hounds. He smashed yes. Instantly, skeletal beasts clawed out of the sand. His unique class grants him insane physical combat specs, while mastering the dark arts. He could resurrect fallen enemies into fiercely loyal meat shields. These undead thralls keep their original stats and abilities, plus they unlock an overpowered immortality buff, completely shrugging off any fatal debuffs. Furthermore, his exclusive Poison Gate talent breathes cursed life into any beast, and as he grinds levels, his soul inventory expands. Give it time, and he is going to command a literally unstoppable Legion of Doom. Freaked out by the undead, a nearby squad captain demanded his identity. The main character completely ghosted her, locking his eyes skyward. "It is showtime," he muttered. Right on cue, a blood-red server alert shattered the sky. The world boss, the colossal Doom Wolf, was crashing into the Badlands. Yuan flashed a savage smirk, blood pumping for a brawl, while cowards cowered beneath, violently cracking thunder. A dimensional tear ripped open the clouds. The newbies shrieked in absolute terror, realizing the apex predator had finally dropped. Forums warned this beast packed a 50-meter kill zone. If you did not bolt immediately, you were basically dead meat right there. Players scattered like roaches, but the Titan beast shredded through them in seconds. The few survivors were paralyzed by pure, unadulterated nightmare fuel. Sitting pretty at level 6 with 2 brutally lethal active skills, this boss was a walking natural disaster. One guy watching his buddy get deleted charged blindly. His party tackled him into the dirt, screaming, "Are you totally freaking suicidal? Nobody can solo a world boss. It is a guaranteed instant game over." Trembling behind a boulder, another player whimpered, "Is it even physically possible to clear this?" Suddenly, his teammate gasped aggressively, pointing forward. Some dude was casually strolling toward the apocalypse with zero hesitation. Spotting Yuan's trash-tier starter gear, they instantly labeled him a clueless newbie. That is a level 6 Lord-class world boss. Even a massive raid party would not be able to dent its health bar. In the immortal world hierarchy, monsters scale brutally, moving from your basic fodder and elites all the way up to bosses. Lords, kings, overlords, and ultimately absolute tyrants. Honestly, any world boss, even sitting at level 1, spells absolute slaughter for beginners. Yet, the main character swaggered right up to the Titan, leaving the hidden onlookers totally sweating bullets. They had zero clue about his true specs. Tuning out their panic, Yuan smirked up at the colossal beast. "Looking at you up close, you are actually pathetic." That ultimate trash talk triggered the boss. It unleashed its sonic howl, blasting a devastating shockwave straight at him. Yuan effortlessly sidestepped. The massive beast lunged, triggering its lethal deathclaw. But Yuan was hyper-focused. Thanks to his past life regression memories, he knew exactly what to expect. A level 6 Doom Wolf packing this skill sat at exactly 3,400 health points and 510 raw attack damage. For these Badlands players who were maxed out at a measly level 3, soloing this nightmare was mathematically impossible. In his previous timeline, even a full raiding party barely survived this exact brutal encounter. But he was a regressor now. Forged in the bloody fires of countless future wars, he was a completely different breed of predator. The gigantic Shadow Claw crashed down. Yuan Phantom stepped away at the last millisecond, letting the enraged beast absolutely pulverize the empty desert terrain. The boss instantly pivoted to chase, while a hidden spectator's jaw just dropped. "Bro, did you even see his insane agility stats?" The beast's eyes flared violently red, instantly triggering its berserk mode. The main character just grinned. The monster fell perfectly into his trap. Slamming his palm against the dirt, he tore open the abyssal, gates of hell fiercely commanding his shadowy vanguard to finally arise. The demonic portals shattered open. With a single flick of his wrist, his undead wolf pack flooded the battlefield like a dark tidal wave. The hiding onlookers were absolutely losing their minds. What the actual heck is that class? Are those straight-up zombie dog summons? They are the desert wolves. But how did he manage to enslave so many corpses? Yuan casually strolled amidst his snarling skeletal hounds. He smirked, knowing that grinding all those trash mobs on the road had comfortably bumped him all the way to level 3. His undead storage maxed out at 30 units. Being tardy was definitely worth the level up. Now time to perfectly exploit the game's aggro mechanics. Because if the summoner's combat stats highly outscale their minions, and they engage in battle simultaneously, the boss AI permanently locks onto the master. Meanwhile, the summons get free hits without ever pulling any dangerous aggro. The Titan Wolf went totally wild, swatting the undead minions like flies. But as one skeletal hound unleashed a piercing howl, the world boss launched a furious counterpounce. Yuan's eyes excitedly glinted because the trap was sprung. He manipulated the aggro system flawlessly, intercepting the boss just as it focused his minions. Dashing like literal lightning, his blade brutally danced through the air in a blur. Carving massive, bloody canyons into the Titan's flesh, the beast shrieked in absolute agony, instantly snapping its deeply murderous glare straight back onto Yuan. He just smirked. The strategy was foolproof. Bait the boss land massive critical strikes, then completely vanish behind his undead meat shields to reset aggro. A swarm of 1,000 ants can easily devour an elephant. Though each zombie dealt a measly 15 damage, the giant wolf's 3,400 health pool was draining incredibly fast. The undead pack boxed the beast in triggering its panic. Seizing the moment, Yuan lunged, leaving the onlookers absolutely speechless. No way, that is a literal world boss lord, they gasped, completely oblivious to the shady players creeping up from behind with pure malice. Minutes ticked by in a flash. The boss's health tanked to 500. The main character struck like lightning. A devastating critical hit shattered its defense, leaving it at a pathetic 10 health. The behemoth unleashed a tortured howl, collapsing heavily into the dust. Yuan stepped up like a grim reaper. A system chime confirmed his prey was knocking on death's door. Right as he readied the execution strike, those toxic lurkers ambushed him. They wanted to hijack his hard-earned loot. Our boy shot them a death glare. Honest players screamed a warning, but he just spun on his heel. His blade carved through the air, annihilating the squad in one fluid motion. Glaring down at their fading bodies, he scoffed at their pathetic overconfidence. The crowd's jaws practically hit the floor. He just one-shot a pack of level 3 bandits like they were paper. Meanwhile, the alpha wolf scraped together its last ounce of strength to stand. Big mistake. A lethal follow-up was already incoming. Yuan's final strike landed a massive critical hit. The glorious system notification popped up. The world boss had been officially eradicated. Boom. 480 juicy experience points, and a glowing soulstone hit his inventory. His gamer instincts kicked in. What is the loot drop? The radiant soulstone levitated right in front of him. Stacking enough of these rare items meant VIP access to the Immortal Council, the ultimate hub for trading into god-tier legendary gear. Once players hit the massive level 60 milestone, they get warped there, hanging out with elves and pushing their limits. Way too early for our guy right now. But snagging legendary loot with this stone makes it a total cakewalk. In this universe, immortal tier gear ranges from basic trash to absolutely broken. You have your standard garbage, then black, metal, bronze, silver, gold, all the way up to dark gold rarities. Above that, epic, legendary, and the mythic fantastical gear. Noobs rock the basic starter kits, and barely anyone flexes. Even a piece of black metal. Just 2 hours prior, he had enslaved 2 skeletal warriors, baiting an elite sand lizard straight into his trap. That big brain play scored him bronze tier armor, the sand lizard mantle. Suddenly, the system interface flashed a global announcement. He was the server's absolute first to conquer a world boss. The legendary Monster Hunter title was officially his. Equipping this gear instantly boosted his attack, critical strike chance, and spell damage by a solid 10% across the board. Scanning the holographic screen, he smirked. In this brutal game, titles were the ultimate cheat code for insane buffs and elite status. This Monster Hunter perk was insanely cracked. And because he secured that epic world-first boss clear, the system showered him with a bonus silver tier treasure chest. Popping the lid, the breathtaking Silver Moon sword materialized in his stash. It packed a massive 100 attack and 10 agility points. Next up was Death's Eye, a wicked accessory, pumping up his intelligence by 40. Plus, it unlocked an insane passive boosting attack speed and melting enemies with extra oxidizing ray damage. He also bagged a Godsend recovery potion, instantly healing 20% of his health and mana pool. And a tier 1 skill scroll that bumped any skill's output by a flat 100 points. To top it off, Pure Monster Essence dropped a rare material from Alpha Beasts. You could brew hardcore potions with it, or just consume it raw. Gulping it down permanently stacked his strength, physical specs, agility, and intelligence by 10 whole points. He grinned, from ear to ear. The first clear loot was an absolute goldmine. Ding. The system finished crunching his massive experience gains, refreshing his entire character sheet in a blink. Raw power surged through his digital veins like a tidal wave. He leveled up to 4, swimming in extra experience. Every level up grants 5 precious skill points, 3 intelligence, and 2 strength, making his base stats slowly become monstrous. Flexing his updated status screen, his confidence skyrocketed. Perfect. He was officially the most overpowered player in the entire Rocky Desert Zone. And the best part, sacrificing his zombie wolves was not a total loss. His level up triggered an evolution for his Gates of Hell skill. His soul storage capacity just spiked to 40. Extending his glowing hand toward the fallen giant wolf carcass, he channeled his dark energy. A prompt flashed, Summon Beast. He smashed accept without hesitation. The behemoth's eyes snapped open with an eerie glow, letting out a menacing rumble. Welcome to the undead army. This resurrected beast packed 4 insane skills. Wail of the Vicious Wolf cranked up enemy damage taken by 40%, slapping them with a brutal 5-second stun. Beast Heart was totally broken, multiplying its health pool by 400%. Deathclaw pumped up its attack power by a flat 150, but the kicker was Rage of the Risen, boosting all allies' attack by 10%, and critical strike chance by a staggering 20. Yuan's mind was blown. For a world boss, this area damage kit was absolutely top tier. Its crowd control was pure nightmare fuel for enemies. Plus, unlike standard zombies, the Resurrection gifted it that exclusive Rage of the Risen buff. Armed with his new giant Deathwolf speed, summoning legions from hell would be an absolute breeze. He commanded the Shadow Beast straight back into the abyss. The spectating players practically stopped breathing in pure terror. Did this absolute menace actually resurrect a world-class boss as an undead minion? And that eerie gateway, those decayed spirit wolves totally crawled out from the void. Catching their panicked murmurs, our main character slowly pivoted. Instantly, the terrified bystanders scrambled behind massive boulders, terrified of making eye contact. Honestly, he assumed they had already fled the server, yet they stayed glued to his epic raid the entire time. Meanwhile, slaughtering those 3 rogues dropped a sick, dark iron blade. It was decent early-game loot, but nothing compared to his lunar silver blade. Snatching the drop, he walked straight toward their pathetic cover. The noobs sweated bullets. They were totally about to log out until our guy casually stepped up, asking if they were the ones shrieking. The targeted dude was literally paralyzed with fear, so our hero just shoved the heavy blade right against his chest, totally shocking him. Walking away, he casually mentioned it could boost his stats. The surrounding crowd immediately swarmed the lucky guy, absolutely mind-blown that he just gifted elite gear. That dark iron weapon was literally worth a massive bag of coins. 10 minutes later, a dizzying wave hit Yuan, violently plunging his vision into pitch blackness. His consciousness got yanked back to the real world. Ripping off his virtual reality headset, he exhaled heavily. His trash battery totally flatlined, forcing an auto log-off. He realized he desperately needed to grind some quick cash for a legitimate gaming setup. Immortal World operates as an insanely immersive holographic universe featuring region-locked servers based on your real-life global coordinates. Plus, every server offers massive, unique realms to spawn in. Elpad, for instance, boasts 4 distinct warring nations: the ancient desert Western Empire, the Northern and Southern Kingdoms, plus a mystic tidal island. This run, he stuck with his original spawn point. Logging in for the very first time, he locked in the Western Empire. Why? Because right before his past life brutal death, he uncovered a game-breaking secret. Back when apocalyptic nightmares flooded the city streets, leaving him crushed and bleeding under concrete debris, his failing eyes caught something totally bizarre. Mysterious elites hovered in the sky, flexing glowing yellow sapphire crests on their combat gear. That specific logo belonged exclusively to the Western Empire clan. Insanely enough, the very first disciple of the apocalyptic demon star was actually a human player. He vividly recalls how that initial traitor acts as the crucial catalyst for dragging the ultimate Dark Sovereign straight into their home dimension. With 3 solid years left on the doomsday clock, assassinating this target early could totally rewrite history and stop the incoming bloodbath. His sole lead is that cursed crest. Only top-tier factions operating inside the ancient desert capital flex that signature yellow gemstone on their banners, and bypassing those city gates strictly requires hitting level 10. To unmask this treacherous rat hiding in the shadows, he desperately needs to speed-grind his stats. Suddenly, a crazy theory hit him. Channeling his focus, he tested his virtual combat abilities in real life. Insanely enough, a literal undead summoning card materialized. He was actually gripping it right now. Elite players in this universe can actually download their overpowered digital abilities straight into reality. Society literally labels these awakened users as the chosen ones, legendary anomalies, branded as fate's children. Every single awakened user is blessed with crazy plot armor and insane drop rates. They literally act as the frontline vanguard against the final boss. During his previous timeline, his digital powers only synced up with reality, right when the apocalyptic boss wave shattered their entire world. But this run, the sync triggered way earlier. Clearly rocking the taboo, Soul Reaper class breaks all the system rules. Still, he has zero clue how his dark abilities stack up against those shiny, destiny-blessed heroes. Shooting a glance at his doorway, he finally stepped out. Walking through the front door, his folks were absolutely stunned to find a massive home-cooked feast flawlessly prepped by their normally reclusive kid. His dad just stood there glitching out while his mom instantly started digging in, playfully slapping her husband's shoulder. She teasingly told him to appreciate this ultra-rare event and devour the food immediately. Watching their warm smiles, a heavy realization hit him. Humans universally share a tragic flaw: we never treasure our precious loot until it's permanently deleted. Then we desperately grind to fill that void. In his first life, he was totally blind, openly hating his peaceful, boring reality. He literally rotted away in his bedroom, obsessed with leveling up. He skipped family dinners, and whenever his caring parents tried pulling him offline, he lashed out with toxic rage. Once the apocalypse erased everything he loved, the crushing guilt of his stupidity broke him. Pulling up a chair, he casually mentioned it was Sunday, so Tan was definitely skipping their afternoon snack. Between bites, his mom explained that his sister was aggressively cramming for massive finals, so she just packed a lunchbox straight to campus. She hinted that if he had downtime, he should totally drop off some fresh plates. Her packed meals were probably tasting like absolute cardboard now. Savoring another bite, her eyes lit up as she hyped up his hidden chef skills. These glazed chicken wings were legitimately god-tier cooking. She fiercely warned his dad against stealing her stash, while he just laughed it off completely, surrendering the entire platter to her. Heartwarming, Yuan dropped an extra wing onto his dad's plate, promising to unlock even more crazy recipes in the very near future. His folks exchanged a stunned look before breaking into massive, proud smiles. Since that exact moment, our protagonist relentlessly grinded to master the dark aura, bleeding over from his virtual stats. Sweating hard, he just cleared yet another brutal, real-world training cycle. Sprinting 50 meters in just 5.5 seconds, not too shabby. But this was only the warm-up. He rushed home instantly, diving back into the game, spawning right where he left off. Without warning, ear-piercing shrieks shattered the sky overhead. Glancing upward, a massive swarm of winged beasts dive-bombed his position. Level 2 common rank, morning birds. Yuan didn't even flinch, effortlessly swatting them out of the air. Snagging a measly 15 experience points from the trio just wasn't cutting it, but a wicked idea sparked. He resurrected the feathered fodder into his undead minions, commanding them to circle like bait to aggro a wolf pack. Sure enough, the trap worked perfectly. Our main character, chilling in the shadows behind a boulder, smirked at the predictable AI. Desert phantom wolves absolutely froth at the mouth for easy prey, popping the cork off his monster essence. He chugged the buff potion instantly, spiking every single stat by 10 points. Feeling the adrenaline surge, he charged headfirst into the danger zone for a real flex. The second the bloodthirsty mutts lunged, his blade danced in a deadly blur, instantly slicing 4 beasts into digital dust. 2 more furballs leaped for his throat, but with lightning-fast reflexes, he executed a flawless combo, dropping them dead. Yet the pack kept spawning. Fangs boxed him in from every angle. Gripping his hilt until his knuckles turned white, he grinned. This was exactly the mob pull he needed. Exploding into motion, he became a whirlwind of steel, carving through the entire pack. 40 dead wolves later, that sweet level-up notification dinged. Level 5 achieved. He banished their digital souls straight to the abyss, maximizing his kill count. Right now, his raw power and physical specs hovered around 20. Meanwhile, agility and intelligence spiked near 50. Downing another drop of monster essence, his base stats surged once again. With this crazy scaling soloing level, 5 elite bosses would be an absolute cakewalk. Next stop, he bolted toward the safe zone, hunting for a specific VIP. Stepping foot inside the gritty walls of Black Sand City, he navigated the winding alleys. Kicking open the door to a rundown shack, he spotted Quincy, the resident spellcaster mentor, lounging inside. One look at the guy screamed absolute boozehound. Leaning against the doorframe, our protagonist demanded to unlock some fresh skill trees, well aware that in the mortal realm, abilities usually dropped as rare skill books from raid bosses or hidden dungeons. But every job class also had a designated master to spoon-feed basics to noobs. Back during his past life grind as a rookie mage, this exact mentor Quincy carried him hard. The drunken master agreed to pass down his knowledge, provided the gold was enough to fund his bar tab, for a solid 2 weeks. Our hero realized his previous mage-only build left him completely clueless about the broken mechanics of the Soul Reaper class. Still, this hidden job could definitely weaponize magic for sick debuffs. To snowball early, he desperately needed the staple meta abilities of a Reaper. Before tackling the ultra-rare ultimate arts, he locked eyes with the drunk and ordered 3 unlocked spiritual flame, healing arts, and stealth. Tossing a heavy pouch of gold straight into the instructor's greedy palms, the mentor chuckled, promising that cash could literally buy miracles here. Weighing the loot, Quincy waved a glowing hand, unleashing a burst of arcane energy, telling the rookie to grind hard and let the majestic glory of the sorcerers carry him to victory. Instantly, the system flashed, granting him triple mage class perks. Spiritual Flame Black Metal rank dishes out a nasty 100% damage. Blast costs 10 mana and rocks a 10-second cooldown. Healing Arts patches up any locked target for 10% health drains 10 mana with a brutal 3-minute cooldown window. The stealth buff cloaks the user in total invisibility for 5 seconds, saps 10 mana, and also triggers a 3-minute cooldown. Scanning the tooltip texts, he smirked. Spiritual Flame gave him that crucial range damage advantage he lacked, while Healing Arts was the ultimate pocket sustain for his squad. Stealth was purely a clutch escape button, yet these base skills felt painfully vanilla. Unlocking the truly overpowered tier lists required a massive resource dump. Time to hit the grindstone and skyrocket his level. In no time flat, he scaled the treacherous peaks just east of Black Sand City. The second his boots hit the summit, a shiny system prompt congratulated him for uncovering a hidden kobold mine. These rat-like beasts were level 5 mobs, infesting the deep, suffocating caverns. Thanks to their ridiculously overpowered scent tracking, they could easily hunt players in pitch blackness. These devious little creeps thrived on jump scares and ambush tactics. Worse, they always swarmed in terrifying hordes of 100 or more. But for his current stats, this was the absolute perfect farming zone. He could power level by unleashing his undead army to do the heavy lifting. Chugging a glowing night vision flask, he spawned his ghost wolves and boldly breached the dungeon entrance. This kobold nest was the ultimate training ground to max out his stealth and spiritual flame proficiency, plus loot some epic dungeon chests. Lighting a torch to cut through the oppressive gloom, he commanded his summons to vanguard the path. But after 15 tense minutes of dungeon crawling, the radar remained completely dead. Suddenly his torchlight danced wildly, and our main character caught a sinister shadow shifting in the abyss. Acting on pure instinct, he chucked the blazing torch forward, shattering the darkness and exposing the hideous freaks waiting in ambush. The greedy creatures were already tearing into his frontline scout wolves. Scanning their stats, these level 5 menaces rocked 2 incredibly annoying skills, dig and strike. Without skipping a beat, he and his wolf pack blitzed into the fray. The vicious kobolds immediately countercharged with terrifying speed. His squad brutally secured a double kill, but these subterranean monsters weren't falling for basic aggro tricks. The wolves crumbled instantly. Yuan dashed forward, slaughtering 8 more beasts. These kobolds were basically fodder. He just needed to deflect their strikes. Suddenly, 4 of them lunged straight at his throat. He popped his stealth skill, making them swipe at empty air. While they desperately searched, he ghosted right behind one. "Over here, idiot," he mocked. In a flash, his blade mercilessly pierced its spine. Exploiting their pure panic, he wiped the floor with the rest, bagging 20 kills before pushing deeper inside. Smirking at the mountain of corpses, he noted he had 5 out of 100 experience points to max his stealth. But these basic mobs had garbage stats, making grinding insanely slow, so he resurrected them as his personal shadow army. As they stood up, their system panels flashed. Their crush skill could shred up to 5% of an enemy max health per hit. With a flick of his wrist, he declared they were officially replacing the wolf squad. He commanded them to scout for the boss. Flanked by 3 undead kobolds, he stepped into a massive labyrinth cavern. Catching a gross, slimy mutation sticking to the wall, a wicked smirk crossed his face. This was exactly the jackpot he needed. He instantly channeled his mana, blasting a scorching fireball at the goo. The system pinged. He had vaporized 2 swamp slimes, snatching up 4 easy experience points. Little did he know, a menacing presence had been stalking him from the pitch-black shadows all along. A hulking kobold overseer ambushed him from the dark A-level 6 elite beast packing the dig and whip skills. The main character philosophized that, since the dawn of time, the strong devour the weak. It is nature, absolute law. Eventually, every predator becomes prey. The massive elite roared, cracking its brutal whip against the cavern floor. Dust exploded violently into the air. But Yuan remained completely unfazed, knowing true hunters often masqueraded as helpless targets. Just to strike when least expected, the devastating whip crack dealt 0 damage. He caught the deadly weapon barehanded. Yanking the whip with terrifying force, he dragged the monster straight into his brutal counterattack. The beast tumbled away, smashing its skull against the jagged rocks. Enraged, the elite scrambled up, ready to tear him apart. But Yuan was already in its face. He unleashed a single devastating blow that instantly shattered its defenses. The elite crumpled to its knees. Suddenly, a deafening roar echoed. The main character spun around, facing a massive monster horde. 2 elite guards commanded the front line. They violently cracked their whips, triggering a nasty buff. The system flashed red. The cavern mobs had entered a bloodthirsty frenzy. Their strike speed skyrocketed by an insane 40%. Their movement bumped up by 25% for 60 brutal seconds. There were easily 50 of them swarming in. A massive army, sure, but his shadows were utterly relentless. He cracked open the hell gates, deploying his undead legion. Gesturing at the frenzied horde, he officially declared open season. His giant alpha wolf charged first, leading the undead pack. The second, the 2 armies violently clashed. The alpha wolf shredded the front line with heavy swipes, unleashing an ear-piercing howl. It activated the devil wolf whip skill. The massive shockwave completely paralyzed the overseers. Then our main character slashed forward, ordering his beasts to execute them all. Instantly, the system started spamming his vision with kill feeds. Slaying 40 of these overseers was an absolute breeze, instantly catapulting him straight to level 6. He popped his necromancy, reviving the fallen as his loyal grunts. Watching their dead friends rise, the surviving mobs panicked. They desperately tried to scatter. Catching this, Yuan ruthlessly chased them down, making them pay for running. Suddenly, a lethal shadow blurred above him. His instincts kicked in, barely dodging a gigantic skull-crushing hammer swing. The system flashed a critical warning about a decisive strike. The Supreme Kobold boss had finally entered the chat. A massively buffed level 7 terror. It exploded from the darkness with a blood-curdling roar, growling directly at him, claiming it had been waiting for this exact moment. The beast swung its massive warhammer, but our hero easily sidestepped. The weapon completely pulverized the cave wall. Spotting the opening, he yelled, "Now," and landed a brutal slice on its armor. Flipping backward, he smirked. Classic boss stats. That defense is practically a brick wall. Furious, the monster swung again. Sending shrapnel flying everywhere, it charged like a literal freight train. He swiftly vaulted backward, evading the lethal arc. Digging his heels into the dirt, he analyzed the threat. This raw power was way too insane for standard elites. Judging by those craters, this raid boss packed at least triple the sheer physical strength of a normal mob. Channeling pure mana to his fingertips, he decided to kite this absolute unit to buy himself some breathing room. While slowly chipping away at its health bar, he instantly summoned his undead legions to swarm the battlefield. His summoned beasts rushed the enemy, activating skill. Root mixed with a demonic wolf's screech. A colossal wolf materialized right beside the boss, instantly triggering the Decisive Strike ability. The system flashed red. Decisive Strike guarantees double the destruction. Our main character thrust his hand forward, barking out, "Obliterate it." The phantom wolves lunged straight for the kobold. Fangs tore into flesh from every possible angle. The massive wolf suddenly dodged, while the system announced the party buff Rise in Fury was officially active, granting plus 10% raw damage and a plus 20% crit rate. A split second later, the beast charged back in, burying razor-sharp fangs deep into the kobold's arm. A massive shockwave of pure energy erupted on impact. Our hero unleashed his spiritual flame magic. He blasted multiple fiery barrages at the boss, thinking hard. If his memory served him right, this kobold boss possessed absolute zero magic resistance. As the thick smoke scattered, the enraged kobold roared furiously and charged our guy. But he smoothly popped his stealth skill, vanishing into thin air before reappearing right behind the beast. He sneered, "Since you begged for death, I'll deliver it." Targeting the creature's blind spot, he sliced directly into vulnerable tissue. His deadly blade sank deep into the boss's throat. The monster shrieked in agony as our hero backflipped, effortlessly evading the wild counterattack. Snapping his fingers, he commanded, "Gather up." A colossal wolf manifested by his side, and he gripped its thick mane. Suddenly, an entire army of kobolds swarmed his position. He smirked, "Pathetic last resorts." Then the system spammed. 15 cave, kobolds slaughtered, 10 kobold, overseers wiped out. 20 cave kobolds decimated, 35 cave kobolds completely eradicated. A split second later, a rogue monster shattered the wolf defense line, sprinting straight at our hero. Catching the movement, he chuckled, "Oh, trying to run away." Gripping his blade tight, he smirked, "You leave your life here first." He exploded into motion, rocketing forward to cleanly decapitate his enemy in one swift strike immediately after. The headless corpse slammed against the dirt. The system boldly declared Kobold Chieftain slain. Plus 50, sweet experience points gained. His eyes locked onto the glowing blue system screen, reading jackpot. "You have officially reached level 7. He grinned. Level 7? Perfect. Just one step closer to hitting level 10. Soon he could finally unlock the epic main city. Hidden in the western desert, he totally mastered stealth and spiritual flame. Leveling them up to 2 basically doubled their entire destructive output. The floating holographic screen displayed spiritual flame, black metal tier, level 2 effect. Unleashes a massive 200% magic damage blast. Cost equals 10 mana points. 10-second cooldown mastery. 20 out of 200. Stealth black metal tier level 2. Effect grants absolute invisibility for 10 straight seconds. Requires 10 mana points. Brutal 3-minute cooldown mastery. 10 out of 200. Pivoting sharply, his eyes widened as a glowing box spawned right from the corpse. He gasped. "No way. A legit bronze treasure chest." Popping the lid open, the system aggressively chimed. Epic loot acquired: a kobold leather bag, the ever-burning torch, the skull mask, and shadow gloves officially secured. Unsealing the exclusive kobold leather bag instantly dropped a sweet stack of 20 shiny gold coins. Weighing the heavy gold pouch in his hand, he smirked. From what he vividly recalled, global banking giants would soon launch massive exchange networks for virtual currency, merging the real and virtual worlds. Those 20 gold coins easily equal a whopping 200,000 yuan in cold, hard cash. Seriously, not bad. Suddenly, another glowing interface popped up, breaking down the stats. Everlasting torch. Effect gives the user permanent night vision covering a 3-meter radius inside pitch-black zones without any annoying time limits. Skull mask. Bronze tier armor. Effect cuts physical damage by 5%, boosting HP plus 10, and pushing strength plus 10. Inspecting the sleek glove, his jaw completely dropped. What is this? The holographic display revealed Shadow Glove's ultra-rare silver tier gear effect. Grant's power perfectly matching the kobold chieftain's insane defense, plus 30 attack damage, plus 30 defense. Flexing his fingers, he laughed. Talk about insane RNG pulling silver loot from a basic bronze box, wearing stats equal to the absolute peak of a boss. He was hyped to test them out. Meanwhile, lurking just outside the cave, the infamous Blood Guild leader, Huang Feilong. A savage level 8 yellow flying dragon-class warrior forcefully stomped onto a crushed monster's skull, strolling to the cliff's absolute edge. He casually swung his massive blade, smirking. This hardcore grinding paid off. In under 60 seconds flat, they absolutely massacred 30 Ghost Desert Wolves Blood Guild's ruthless vice-captain, Huang Feihu, a level 5 yellow flying tiger-class assassin. Grinned wickedly. When this squad rolls together, we are literally an unstoppable force, brothers. Wei Qing immediately chimed in. Total respect for the boss and vice-captain. Wiping out that huge wolf pack with a single devastating strike. Your raw power is honestly terrifying. Ron fiercely nodded. Hell yeah. If those clowns from the Thunder Guild show their faces, we'll grind them into actual dust. Wei Qing shouted. Damn straight. But Feihu's expression darkened as he growled. If that Yuan hadn't crashed the party, we would have easily snagged the world boss first kill. No trash guild would even dare breathe our name after that. System alerts flashed. Player Yuan just obliterated the giant wolf world boss. Absolute shock washed over everyone. Now what? Feihu snarled, questioning why the universe favored that punk. He swore that if Yuan crossed his path, pure destruction awaited. The guild leader glared, completely exhausted. He demanded to know how many times he had to tell him to actually use his brain. Yuan is an absolute monster. Never underestimate his insane power. Instead of picking pointless fights, they needed to strategize to crush him. Stepping forward, the leader muttered about a hidden kobold dungeon located just a few miles away. He ordered them to stay put and recover their stamina while he scouted ahead. Ron immediately bowed in total submission. Feihu seethed with absolute jealousy. Thanks to that stray mutt, Yuan, his older brother, had humiliated him 3 separate times. So totally unfair. Pointing furiously into the distance, he screamed Yuan's name. That idiot better watch his back. Someday he would rip out his fingernails right before his brother's eyes. Then he would sever Yuan's head, proving to his brother who the ultimate powerhouse truly was. Ron smirked, telling the deputy leader to ignore that pathetic loser. Pointing ahead, Ron suggested they check out the scenery. Feihu followed his gaze, totally confused. What was it? Spotting a lone girl, a wicked grin spread across Feihu's face. Meanwhile, our hero marched forward as a glowing system window popped up. Target acquired Zombie Kobold Chieftain level 7. Health 1000. Attack 150. Defense 80. Skills included Dig Immortality and Crushing Blow. Crushing Blow inflicts a devastating 200% damage, packed with a 10% critical strike chance. He grinned, realizing he just bagged a high-tier zombie boss. Plus, his underworld army now boasted 70 terrifying undead monsters ready for slaughter. The grind never stops. Suddenly, a desperate scream pierced the air. It was Sabrina yelling at the thugs. Stay back. She warned them not to move an inch. One more step and she would absolutely destroy them without any mercy. Ron slithered closer, mocking their insane luck for finding such gorgeous prey. Feihu flashed a creepy smile, telling her to just relax. They just wanted to play. Fighting back was totally useless, so she should just enjoy the ride. Ron eagerly nodded. If she kept their boss entertained until he got bored, they might actually reward her with some epic loot. Sabrina gripped her magic staff, threatening to blast them into oblivion. But in a flash, Feihu brutally kicked the weapon from her trembling grasp. He mocked her pathetic defense. The savage impact sent her flying backward, and he ruthlessly yanked her up by her hair. He laughed, mocking how a basic low-level mage actually thought she stood a chance against elite players. Drop the innocent act. If she was still clinging to hope, it was completely game over now. Getting uncomfortably close, he barked. Bring it on. Her desperate struggles only made this hunt more thrilling for him. A terrifying scream escaped her as he forcefully grabbed her outfit. Bam! Out of nowhere, a brutal punch smashed into his jaw, launching him violently through the air. Absolute panic erupted. His goons screamed for their boss as he violently crashed into a massive boulder. Our main character smirked, admitting the impact was decent, but he honestly expected a harder fight. Terrified, a nearby lackey sprinted away, completely losing his mind. He desperately needed to warn their leader. Trembling with fear, Wu Xing stared at the mysterious newcomer and stuttered. Who the heck is this guy? Ron pointed a shaky finger, screaming that crossing the Bloody Guild meant an absolute death sentence. Our hero locked eyes with them. The Bloody Guild. During the early days of Immortal World, these punks ruled the Black Sand region. Most of these scumbags were notoriously toxic players, literally glowing with cursed red names. Rack up over 10 player kills, and the system instantly brands your name Crimson, marking you as a high-threat menace. It was all from their endless griefing, ruthless ganking, and toxic looting. Even without a demon lord invading reality just yet, and respawning still existing, the brutal EXP drops and losing legendary gear completely ruined innocent players' lives. Stepping up, our guy casually asked if they represented that infamous Bloody Guild. He remembered how these exact bottom feeders made his past life a living nightmare. Wuxing and Ron exchanged nervous looks before Ron puffed his chest, yelling yes. They were the absolute kings of Black Sand with a terrifying reputation, and this nobody just assaulted their top boss. Despite the tough talk, pure panic shook Ron's core. Tightening his combat bandages, he shrieked that escaping was impossible now. To avoid a humiliating death, he demanded our hero slice off his own hands, crawl like a pathetic stray dog, and literally beg for mercy. Swoosh. Our hero blurred forward, unleashing a devastating combo that instantly sliced off their arms. They collapsed, screeching in pure agony. Flicking the blood away, our guy coldly stated he loved the suggestion, so he just applied it to them instead. As for acting like dogs, they could bark all the way down to hell. Meanwhile, Sabrina stood completely frozen, utterly awestruck by his god-tier strength. Out of the rubble, Feihu suddenly twitched. A shattered potion bottle rolled away. The system chimed, confirming the rat had just chugged a high-grade healing elixir. A golden glow surged, restoring 20% of his health and mana pools. Thrusting his hand forward, he scoffed. Pathetic fools. With a heavy push, he stood tall. Fury blazing in his eyes, he promised absolute destruction. Suddenly, the oppressive aura of the Guildmaster descended upon the blood-soaked battlefield. Show yourself who dares to challenge our absolute authority with a death wish. A trembling lackey pointed a shaky finger and screamed, "Boss, the target is right there." Our hero slowly turned. The Blood Guild grunt, practically foaming at the mouth, shrieked, "That is the bastard." He nearly slaughtered the vice captain. Fei Long's hand instantly gripped the hilt on his back, roaring, "Who did this?" Then, his blood ran cold. The stranger's gaze was entirely dead, yet pulsating with legendary power. Those silver irises gleamed like cursed, razor-sharp moonlight, forged like a divine blade ready to slice reality itself. Just standing in his monstrous aura made grown men whimper in pure terror. The desperate minion shrieked, "Boss, crush this arrogant trash. Show him our absolute wrath. What kind of suicidal mutt dares to bark at us? Does this punk have a death wish? Let's send him straight to hell." But in that exact terrifying fraction of a second, Fei Long swallowed hard. This guy is an absolute monster. The legendary blade in the kid's grip screamed of bloodshed, ripped straight from a boss-tier beast. Wait, is that Yuan? Out of 8 billion humans, his brain-dead guildmates provoked the Grim Reaper. Utter trash, they've doomed us all. Meeting the guild leader's terrified eyes, our hero smirked. "So, you're the so-called Blood Guild Master Fei Long," gritted his teeth, desperate to save face. Bloodshed was the only way out now. Suddenly, Feihu descended from the heavens like a meteor. Sabrina's terrified scream shattered the air. "Watch your 6 ambush." A blood-crazed assassin lunged, roaring for blood. Synchronizing the attack, the guildmaster violently swung his massive weapon. "Die, you arrogant little pest. You crossed the wrong empire." It was a fatal miscalculation. The attacker genuinely believed he had the upper hand for a split second. But his victory cry turned to horror impossible. Out of thin air, a vicious kobold materialized, ruthlessly blocking the strike aimed at its master. Trembling, he watched the absolute menace casually stepping forward. Words died in his throat as the hero vanished into a blinding blur of steel. The guildmaster collapsed, utterly defeated. Stepping over the broken bodies, our hero casually sighed. What a pathetic excuse for a top-tier guild. Suddenly, the holographic interface flared blinding crimson. System alert, player elimination confirmed. The digital judgment had been passed. Penalty applied, +2 karma points. He scoffed internally. Only 2. As long as his hands stay clean for exactly 7 days, the corrupted status would completely vanish. Suddenly, Sabrina pointed at the horizon, her voice trembling with sheer panic. "They're retreating, we have to chase them down." Unbothered, he brushed off his blade. Why hunt down completely insignificant roaches? A cascade of glowing golden loot screens materialized. Item acquired, Explosive Battle Axe Silver Grade. Passive ability upon heavy physical impact. The weapon detonates a massive shockwave, obliterating the primary target and shredding the immediate blast zone. Attack +40, strength +30. Next drop, Dragon Fang Crossblade Silver Grade. Passive ability, every successful strike unleashes roaring hellfire, inflicting devastating burn stacks. Agility +30, attack +40. Final drop, Spike Dagger Bronze Grade. Bonus stats include attack +15 and agility +20. A greedy smirk played on his lips. Pretty solid haul. Easy gold on the auction house. Sabrina timidly stepped closer. Her cheeks burned crimson as she whispered deep gratitude for her absolute survival. Bridging the gap, she suddenly blurted out, "Wait, who actually are you?" He cast a mysterious side glance, turned away and declared, "My identity, just remember. Soon enough, my legend will permanently dominate the absolute top 10 global leaderboards." Her jaw completely dropped. The global top 10. Shaking off the shock, she flailed her arms wildly. "To hell with rankings, boss. Just let me join your party." Fast forward to the scorching dunes of the Weeping Desert. Our lone wolf pushed forward. Suddenly, the cursed sand violently erupted behind his back. Monstrous scorpions exploded from the depths as the blue interface flashed. Warning, Weeping Desert, Scorpion level 6 normal mob. Health points 400, attack power 100, 10 physical resistance 20. Special ability, Paralyzing Lightning Strike. Instantly dropping into a flawless combat stance, he unleashed a devastating hurricane of spinning slashes. The beasts were utterly shredded. A massive tornado of pure dark aura engulfed the battlefield. The digital voice echoed coldly. Annihilation complete. 60 desert terrors erased from existence. Level up. Welcome to level 8, he smirked. Skipping levels already. Harvesting shockweeds was pure boredom, but the explosive experience points completely justified the grind. Flashback to exactly 48 hours earlier. He was chilling in the guild hall when Master Emor intercepted him. Extending a weathered hand, the elder gravely whispered, "Hero, destiny finally brings us together." The translucent blue panel violently shimmered to life, signaling an unexpected high-stakes legendary mission drop, issued by Grand Alchemist Emor. Accept this trial, title The Will of Emor. Mission directive, survive the merciless Weeping Desert wasteland. Harvest 100 paralyzing roots and return alive. Countdown clock, 24 hours. Difficulty rank, black metal. These specific botanical mutations absorb pure lightning, flourishing only in the Death Sands. A brilliant strategy clicked in his mind. The capital city's upcoming raid event was notorious for its vicious elemental beasts. Surviving that slaughterhouse absolutely required massive shock resistance. The market value for these lightning-infused herbs was about to completely skyrocket. A top-tier lightning resistance potion, that rare loot easily fetches thousands of gold coins. Back in his past life, some lucky punk made an absolute fortune off this. Gathering these paralyzing herbs unlocked a hidden recipe for that exact game-breaking lightning potion. Today marks Emor's first time stepping foot in Black Sand. Once he wraps this up, the NPC retires forever. Players literally only get one shot to snatch this legendary recipe. Without hesitating, our main character accepts the mission and scans the current mob spawns. He smirks. The Weeping Desert Scorpion is just a level 6 beast, guarding the paralyzing herb, total fodder to him now. With the main objective successfully secured in his bag, he decides to grind his herbalism proficiency to the max. He reaches for the glowing plant, and a sleek system prompt pops up. Herbalism skill upgraded to black metal, level 2. Gathering speed boosted, granting a sweet 5% chance for rare drops. Requirement 1, intelligence point. Cooldown 3 seconds. Mastery, 120 out of 200. He plucks the herb, dusting off his knees to leave. But the moment his boot hits the sand, a chilling vibration ripples through the earth. What the heck? Boom. A massive razor-sharp stinger explodes from the dirt, forcing him to desperately dodge. The beast crashes onto the battlefield, and he instantly summons his lightning-destroying silver blade. His eyes widen at the colossal monstrosity towering over him right as glowing red system alerts flood his vision, flashing wild warnings. A mutated boss variant, the Crystal Demon Scorpion of the Weeping Desert danger alarms blare relentlessly as our main character readies his stance. Since when do mutated variants spawn here? The merciless system reveals. Crystal Demon Scorpion of the Weeping Desert, level 10. HP 2800. Attack 400. Defense 400. Skills include Paralyzing Lightning Strike, Poison Needle, Earth-Rending Claw, and Crystal Lightning. He flashes a fearless smirk. Sure, the difficulty just spiked, but this freak is the perfect whetstone to test his silver-destroying blade for the very first time. He dashes forward, unleashing a brutal slash, then uses the momentum to vault straight onto the monster's massive back. Damn, this crystal armor is literally impenetrable. Suddenly the system shrieks a critical warning. The boss is channeling. Its paralyzing lightning strike, crackling blue electricity instantly engulfs the entire battlefield. Our boy clenches his teeth. This is bad. He fiercely tries jamming his blade through the beast's thick plates, but the system flashes again. The boss triggers its poison needle skill. That lethal stinger rockets straight for his head. He barely executes a perfect dodge roll, landing smoothly in front of the Titan. He scowls, realizing this boss hits way harder than he originally calculated. Time to debuff this overgrown bug. Locking eyes with the predator, he barks out a command. Rise, my kobolds. Awaken from the shadows. Instantly, a dark portal rips open, spewing out his loyal squad of zombie minions. The undead immediately swarm the towering scorpion. Watching the chaos, our main character questions why his double damage passive hasn't triggered yet. The system blares again as the boss activates Crushing Claw. It violently sweeps its colossal pincer across the sand, sending multiple zombies flying like ragdolls. But heavy blasts of magic aggressively counterattack, and the main character yells, "Taste the absolute fury of my upgraded flames." The boss's health bar finally starts melting. Thrusting his hand out, he commands, "Bring it down." On cue, the kobolds lasso the monster's giant claws with thick ropes locking it entirely in place. Their undead leader blasts off the ground, launching into the air to unleash a devastating overhead smash with his warhammer, straight onto the monster's skull. Our boy hypes up. Double damage proc, let's go. The system confirms massive critical hit. Double damage successfully triggered. The agonizing beast screeches, snapping its grotesque jaws wide open. Seizing the opening, the main character leaps, channeling explosive aura into his fists. If the outer armor is too tough, I'll just blast it from the inside. System pings. Hunter-Killer title detected. Player attack power permanently boosted by 10%. Double damage probability increased by 10%, and magic output boosted by 10%. He throws a bone-shattering punch, roaring that he'll crush this bug into dust. Time to turn this mutation into pathetic scrap. Your game over is right now. He detonates his fist against the target, sending a catastrophic shockwave of pure energy rippling through the scorpion's entire anatomy. The colossal beast violently collapses into the dust. Our hero flips backward, sticking a flawless superhero landing. The glowing interface confirms. Transformed demonic beast. Crystal Thunder, Scorpion, Assassin, successfully eliminated. He instantly bags a sweet 560 experience points. But wait, the dead scorpion slowly twitches back to life, its body mutating entirely. System blares, Undead Crystal Thunder, Scorpion Assassin level 10, HP 2800, attack 400, defense drop to 55. Updated skills, Paralyzing Lightning Strike, Penetrating Poison Needle, Crushing Claws, Steel Thunderstorm, and an immortal undead body. Paralyzing Lightning applies a brutal 1-second stun. Penetrating Poison Needle incoming. A Venomous Tail Strike inflicting 10 toxic damage. Plus, those bone-crushing claws unleash 250% attack damage upon impact. Crystal Lightning Storm erupts. Shimmering shards blast outward in a full 360-degree radius, guaranteeing 100% devastating attack damage. The undead passive effect remains an absolute mystery. Suddenly, our main character glances sideways, spotting a terrifying swarm of scorpions closing in. Smirking through a frown, he praises their insane luck. He hypes the battlefield, shouting they are about to meet his brand new tamed beast. The system blares, confirming his Crystal Lightning Storm activation. Violent currents of raw energy explode outward, absolutely shredding through the enemy ranks. Our hero launches off the dirt. Gripping his weapon, he rockets forward, becoming a spinning tornado of absolute destruction. Slicing through flesh, the system flashes, confirming a flawless critical strike on their fatal weak spots. Landing gracefully among the slaughtered beasts, a glorious system chime echoes. Boom, an instant level up. He has officially hit level 10. A glowing holographic panel materializes player Yuan Abyssal Forest level 10. Class Soul Reaper. Locked ultimate talent, the legendary Dark Summoning. Spiritual World Gate reads 20 out of 100. Stats check, Strength 32, Constitution 28, Agility rocking 47, and Spirit maxing at 53. Experience points sit at 152 out of 5,159. Scanning the epic gains, our main character smirks. Snagging 2 massive levels back to back. The dopamine rush is absolutely unreal. Jackpot. The system drops sweet silver tier loot, a lightning spear guardian, grieves a paralyzing ring, and ghost bracers. Realizing the entire chest is packed with premium silver gear, his mind races. Selling this insane stash could literally change his parents' struggling lives forever. Glancing back at the gruesome battlefield, the system flashes a victory message. Every single demonic beast in the zone has been completely wiped out. The interface praises his epic clear. He scores a hyper-rare gold rank skill perfectly matching his unique class. Pure energy swirls in his palms, manifesting an ancient grimoire. This is the jackpot. The system identifies it. Curse of Darkness, a coveted gold rank spell. Exclusive requirement restricted absolutely to Soul Reapers. Pressing his palm against the mystical tome, he whispers a lucky prayer. Instantly, the system confirms the legendary skill is permanently burned into his mind. Boom! A massive surge of dark power invades his veins, blasting a blinding pillar of pure aura straight into the heavens. The system celebrates his insane power-up, officially unlocking the Soul Reaper's exclusive technique, Curse of Darkness. Phantom skulls swarm the air. The glowing prompt reads, Curse of Darkness, Gold Rank, Level 1. The brutal effect. It shreds 20% of the target's current health, or radically heals allied undead by 20%. Cost is 100 mana, with a quick 10-second cooldown. Current mastery sits at 0 out of 100. Staring at the sinister dark flames dancing across his fingers, realization hits. This god-tier spell lets him heal his undead army by a massive 20%. Spinning around, he locks eyes on his scorpion's battered health bar. Channeling the abyssal aura outward, he smirks, deciding to test this insane new buff. In a flash, the system pings. His demonic pet's vitality instantly skyrockets right back up to 80%. Gripping his fists with surging confidence, our hero declares the tutorial finished. It is finally time to raid the main city for his very first elite subordinate. Suddenly he glitches out, asking, "Wait, seriously?" Snapping back to stark reality, a gentle hand drops onto his shoulder. It is his mom. Softly calling his name, she worries that Dad's back is completely wrecked and needs help. Yanking off his VR rig, our hero locks eyes with her. Moments later, he carefully lowers his groaning old man onto the living room couch, begging him to take it easy. His dad stubbornly flops onto his stomach. Reaching out with anxious hands, his mother scolds the stubborn man. Why is someone his age still pulling such insanely reckless stunts around the house? He tried soloing the broken AC unit out of pure stubbornness. Seriously, couldn't he have just called a professional repairman? Now he is paying the painful price. Resting on his hands, the father grumbles that they desperately need to save every single penny. He flexes about last week's broken washing machine, bragging how he speedran the repairs in minutes. It was barely an inconvenience, he just overexerted his muscles slightly today. He brushes it off, claiming a good night's sleep will cure him. Plus, he has to grab Tan from school tomorrow. Our main character just stares, silently plotting. Slowly pulling the door shut, he leaves. Fast forward to morning, his exhausted parents are resting in bed. Stumbling into the hallway, his mom supports her groaning husband. Confused, she mumbles, "Yuan, is that you? Why the massive racket at the crack of dawn?" Their jaws literally drop. A crew of delivery guys is busy mounting a massive brand new flat screen. Suddenly, the lead installer walks right up to his dad. Bowing politely, the worker asks, "Are you Mr. Lin? Here are the luxury upgrades Mr. Yuan ordered." The crew speed ran the premium installation process. He respectfully asks the stunned parents to verify this mind-blowing delivery. Trembling with absolute shock, his parents freeze. His mom stammers in utter disbelief, wondering if she is dreaming and what on earth is actually happening. Cut to our hero grinding at an elite gym. Suddenly, John steps up awkwardly, apologizing for interrupting his intense workout session. John politely asks if he is locking in that annual VIP Platinum package up front. Without hesitating, our protagonist dramatically slaps down his shiny bank card, confidently agreeing. Sliding the card over, his mind races. By liquidating all that useless game loot, he completely transformed his family's ragged house and secured a premium gym pass for everyone. He knows his family desperately needs to grind their physical stats early, prepping them for the inevitable brutal immortal world integration phase. Meanwhile, the trainer glances down at the flashing credit card and freezes. Heat rushed to her cheeks. Lord, this guy has been grinding for hours, yet he hasn't broken a single sweat, zero heavy breathing. And that god-tier physique, he is built like an absolute titan. Her jaw practically hit the floor as she gasped. Wait, is that a top-tier VIP card? You need over 5 million in the bank for that. Suddenly, the main character's phone buzzed. Yeah, he answered coolly. Exactly, it is the grand prize from my esports tournament. Alright, just chill at home today. I will go pick up Tan myself. Staring blankly at his card, she swooned. This guy is literally built different. So ridiculously young, yet swimming in cash. Later, at Shushue No. 1 High School, the final bell rang, scattering the crowd. School is out, let's rush to the PC, bang next door and squat up. Right then, Tan strolled through the courtyard, while her loyal squad chattered excitedly behind her. Hey, since it is your birthday, come over to my place. My older brother scored that viral strawberry cake. Smiling brightly, her friend gushed. Whoa, so lucky. Having a big bro is the ultimate flex. I am totally jealous. Wish I had one. Glancing at the pavement, Tan scoffed internally. A brother? Yeah, right, total nightmare. A flashback hit her, peeking into his messy cave, watching him hopelessly glued to his screen. Striding ahead, she silently cursed her fate, wishing she was an only child. Suddenly, Phil blocked her path with a smug grin. Tan, our untouchable school queen. Acting so high and mighty. We hyped you up through mutuals countless times, yet you kept ghosting us. Crossing his arms with a toxic smirk, Robert sneered. But today we are rolling up in person. Time to drop the attitude and show some respect. Glaring daggers at the duo, she snapped coldly. What do you creeps want? Right then, her panicked friends rushed over, whispering, who are these walking red flags? Invading her personal space, Robert reached out disgustingly, praising her flawless porcelain skin. He demanded a little taste. Instantly, she swatted his filthy hand away, screaming at him to back the hell off. Keep your gross paws to yourself and step back. Pointing a trembling finger, she warned. Try that again, and I am dialing 911. Snapping, the thug brutally shoved her from behind, roaring out, You stuck-up brat. You deserve zero respect. A piercing shriek escaped her lips as she crashed hard into the concrete. Class rep, her friends shrieked in pure terror. Winding up for another strike, Robert bellowed, Does a little reality check hurt your feelings? Quit playing the innocent little victim. Squeezing her eyes shut, Tan braced for the impact. But out of nowhere, the main character locked onto the bully's wrist like a steel vice. Who gave you the green light to touch my little sister? Gasping in pure shock, Tan stammered UN, thrashing wildly. Robert cursed. Damn you. Where did this stray dog crawl out from? The surrounding punks cracked their knuckles, barking viciously. We are knocking every single tooth out of your skull today, or my name means nothing. Guess this loser has a death wish. Shut up and fight. We snap his arm first, ask questions later. But in a blinding flash, Yuan buried his fist into Phil's jaw, unleashing a devastating flurry of lightning-fast strikes. He capped the combo with a skull-rattling roundhouse kick, straight to Robert's face. Slamming him into the dirt, an entire crowd of stunned students circled them, watching the absolute beatdown in silent awe. Brushing off his hands, the main character muttered, "Let's bounce." Later, as they strolled down the street, Tan, stealing sideways glances, finally demanded why he showed up. She totally assumed he was rotting away in his gaming chair. What triggered this sudden rescue mission? Unbothered, he stated. Dad threw out his back. Mom stayed behind to play nurse. Freezing in her tracks, she shrieked in absolute panic. Threw out his back. Is it serious? The main character just stared, casually shoving his hands deep into his pockets. Nope, just a minor tweak, he answered. As they resumed their walk, a weird sensation washed over Tan. They had not shared a normal conversation like this in literal years. The silence felt suffocatingly awkward. Suddenly, her squad came sprinting up, hollering class rep. They swarmed around, buzzing with pure hype. Is this god-tier guy seriously your brother? He looks absolutely nothing like the basement-dwelling goblin you described. We had zero clue Senior Yuan was this insanely cool and drop-dead gorgeous. Why were you gatekeeping him? Tan stared at her stoic brother, utterly baffled. Gorgeous. This emotionless rock. Thirsty. Whispers rippled through the schoolyard. Who is that absolute main character? So majestic word is, he is a graduating senior. He instantly obliterates every other guy on campus. Caught off guard, Tan realized, wait, he is actually famous now. Right then, a blushing underclassman bounced up, purring a sweet hello. As her brother smoothly nodded back, Tan's brain short-circuited. Hold up, when did he get this ridiculously tall? How was I this blind? Is he actually packing some serious muscle under there? No wonder he absolutely dismantled those street trash bullies. Snapping out of it, the fangirls waved their goodbyes and Tan awkwardly promised to catch them tomorrow. She then turned to her brother, who suddenly crouched down, gesturing for her to hop on. Her face ignited like a tomato, frantically waving him off. I am fine, I can totally walk by myself, she stammered, panicking over his sudden knight-in-shining armor routine. Getting a piggyback ride in front of half the school was social suicide. Ignoring her protests, he firmly grabbed her arm, pulling her forward as her eyes widened in pure terror. Hoisting her onto his broad shoulders, she squealed, "Put me down!" Chuckling, he whispered, "Relax, your friends are already gone." If walking was torture, she needed to chill. That brutal shove totally wrecked her ankle right. She scowled, absolutely shocked. He even noticed. Stepping inside their apartment, our protagonist finally announced their arrival. Tan grabbed her phone, chatting up their parents. Soon enough, their dad shot them a warm glance, saying, "At least my kids are safe." Right after that, our guy actually started scrubbing the dirty dishes. Their mom pulled Tan aside, whispering in absolute awe. "Just look at him. He's literally a brand new person." Dad nodded hard. "Seriously, he cooks now, even buys random gadgets." Mom chimed right back in. "Exactly. Your sibling bond feels just like the good old days. So wholesome, the whole vibe completely flipped." Lounging nearby, Tan scoffed. "You think?" But deep down, she wondered about this bizarre new version. Maybe he actually evolved. Suddenly, our boy declared dinner ready, ripping off his chef apron. He announced he was retreating upstairs. Boom, the door slammed shut. Tan rolled her eyes. What did she honestly expect? He was still just a hardcore basement dweller. But instantly, our hero reappeared, tossing her some painkillers. "Pop these post-shower," he muttered. "They'll fix that ankle fast." Turning back around, he claimed his gaming time. "Unless the house is literally burning, do not interrupt." Clutching the meds, Tan sighed, her eyes fluttering shut. "Whatever, loser. Nobody wants to bother you anyway." Mom smirked at her. "See that? You guys are totally bonding. Spill the tea, what went down today?" "Literally nothing, Mom. I'm hitting the showers." Meanwhile, up in the bedroom, our guy exhaled a massive breath. Slumping into his gaming chair, he muttered, "Family duties successfully cleared for the week." Staring at his VR gear, he strapped in. Time to dive back, flashing into the server's central zone. The windy sands, he touched down hard. The earth splintered beneath his boots. "Time to hunt that rat," he growled. A system ping confirmed the new zone. His eyes locked onto the massive structure looming dead ahead. Nearby, a terrified player groveled in the dirt. Pointing frantically, the dude screamed, "Please, almighty guard. I swear to the heavens, it's a massive misunderstanding." But a heavily armored cop crushed him. "Shut your mouth. Enough lies. Enjoy rotting in a jail cell." Suddenly, the guard snapped his head sideways. Just the wind. Lurking behind a stone pillar, our MC calculated his odds. These street guards sniff out high-sin players instantly. With his PK penalty still raging, he needed 3 whole days of stealth to clear his red name. Perfect timing to visit an old buddy from my past life. Fast forward inside the grand sanctuary. Priest Lawrence cast a glowing blessing. "By divine grace, your sins are completely purified. From this second forward, your spirit shines like fresh winter snow. Let the holy light guide you through this sacred baptism ritual." While a random player knelt reverently, our MC casually strolled inside, claiming he hailed from the local shelter. The priest blinked at him. Smirking, our hero dropped his bait. He casually mentioned hearing rumors about a dying patient hidden away here offering his elite services. The priest's eyes lit up instantly. Any assistance curing Sir Douglas would be a literal miracle. Our guy just nodded coolly. Bet. In the back room, Douglas Wayne looked absolutely wrecked. MC remembered this guy's legendary status in the ancient Western Desert factions, the almighty Scorpion Lion Order, back in his previous life at level 15. Grinding a golden tier weapon from this dude was pure hell. Stepping up to the sickbed, he stated, "Sir Douglas, I'm here to purge that nasty venom from your veins." Douglas scoffed, spotting the MC's low level 10, and smirked. A pathetic level 10 mage. The street cops could literally mop the floor with you. Suddenly, the knight violently hurled, spilling black sludge across his blankets. Unfazed, our MC diagnosed him cold. "That toxin is currently melting your organs. Reject my help and you're staring at a game over in 30 days. Douglas wiped his mouth, eyes narrowing dangerously. "To craft the antidote, I need 1,000 drops of rotten fish oil. If you aren't terrified of dying, test your luck out in the filthy clay desert." Ding. A golden quest prompt flashed Douglas's request. "Accept. Objective revealed gold tier difficulty. Farm 1,000 vials of that disgusting fish oil, and miraculously cure the knight's lethal poison." Easy money, he smirked. Fast forward, he touched down in the wasteland. Grotesque monsters thrashed in the toxic sludge. Target scanned elite rotten fish level 15. Health pool sitting at 3,500. Attack 300 packing nasty skills like fish curse and insane resistance. The real grind starts now. The guild members scrambled backward, screaming in pure panic. The hunter dashed ahead, screaming for them to hold the line. These aquatic freaks pack razor-sharp fangs. Let him draw their aggro first. Suddenly, the archer collapsed backward, shrieking in absolute terror. The mutated fish instantly unleashed a massive shockwave of pure energy. Ching barely sidestepped the lethal blast. Meanwhile, several panicked guys plunged into the water, screaming out for backup. A system alert flashed, tail wave jump activated. The beast violently thrashed its tail, snapping its massive jaws wide open. Launched airborne, Ching gritted his teeth. Staring down the monster's bottomless throat, he knew this was totally game over. But right then, our main character blitzed into the danger zone, snatching the terrified guy by his shredded collar. He hurled him to safety, barking at the scrubs to back off. Blazing aura gathered wildly in his palm. He blasted a devastating beam of magic straight at the beast, triggering a massive detonation. Then he slammed his hand into the dirt. A heartbeat later, Ching skidded across the dirt. Clutching his own throat, he gasped. Was he actually still breathing? Whipping his head around, he screamed for the guy to hold up. Staring at the main character charging straight into hell, he wondered, where did that absolute legend even come from? Meanwhile, the protagonist channeled pure aura, blitzing forward to unleash a brutal barrage of strikes. He decimated every single beast in his trajectory. As enraged monsters lunged for the kill, Ching screamed out in absolute panic. "Boss, watch your six." The terrifying swarm zeroed in on the protagonist, but he effortlessly vaulted backward, violently mocking them. "Is that really your best shot?" Sticking the landing, he unsheathed his glowing blade and smirked. Trash in a pack is still just trash. Gripping his legendary hilt tightly, he unleashed a merciless flurry of sword slashes, shredding the monstrous front line to absolute pieces. Watching this, Ching lost his mind. Holy crap, who is this overpowered monster? An 8-man squad almost got completely wiped out. Yet this absolute Chad is soloing 5 of them effortlessly. He is cracked, but surely nobody can solo this insane fish raid. Because the real nightmare of these freaks is their coordinated area of effect strike. Suddenly, Ching froze in pure terror, watching the horrific beasts charge their ultimate attack. Vomiting massive clouds of toxic smoke, the protagonist's eyes widened in slight shock. Dark aura swirled violently around the mob as the system chillingly declared mutated fish horde activating a lethal group skill. Echo of the council venomous fangs. Any unfortunate soul caught in this devastating kill zone would inhale heavily toxic smog, suffering brutal debuffs like mind-shattering confusion and nightmarish auditory hallucinations. Instantly, a glowing rune ignited above the protagonist's fingertip. He scoffed coldly. "What a pathetic trick, I am not falling for that garbage in this timeline." Then he roared, "Awaken giant wolf." In a flash of blinding light, his majestic beast ripped through a dimensional portal. The main character commanded violently, "You must unleash, hungry wolf howl." Taking the high ground, the massive beast unleashed an earth-shattering roar. System alert target critically struck. The mutated freak show instantly became totally paralyzed. Smirking under his hand, the protagonist muttered, "Let us finish this system notification mask awakening triggered granting one-time immunity to venomous fog." Slashing his blade, a demonic mask materialized over his features. Free falling from the cliffside, he roared for them to embrace their glorious demise. He swung his glowing weapon with murderous intent, landing devastating critical strikes on the monster's fatal weak points. Carving a bloody path forward, he violently ordered them to perish. Standing triumphantly atop a mountain of slaughtered beasts, he sensed a lethal aura creeping up his spine. Way too slow. If you trash his love playing in the filthy mud, then you can rot in this hellish graveyard for all eternity. Absolute morons. He aggressively hurled his aura-drenched blade straight ahead, and in the very next heartbeat, An apocalyptic explosion detonated the entire front line. Pointing at the carnage, Ching gasped, "Holy crap," but his teammate frantically yelled, "Do not celebrate yet. Look out, a massive wave is incoming." Standing fearlessly beside his newly summoned monster, the protagonist ordered, "Obliterate them." Thunder Zombie Scorpion. A sleek blue interface popped up. Crystal Storm skill successfully initiated. A lethal shockwave ripped across the battlefield, followed by blinding geysers of arcane magic erupting straight from the boss's core. The blast completely vaporized the monstrous front line. Clutching his head in pure disbelief, Rowan desperately screamed out, "I specifically told you it is completely hopeless. The enemy swarm is way too massive and overpowered to ever one-shot." Right then, the main character viciously vaulted off a monstrous corpse. Landing smoothly on a jagged cliff, he smirked. "Who actually claimed I wanted to massacre every single one of them?" The entire squad stared at him, absolutely stunned, as Ching echoed. The others stared in utter disbelief as Ching stammered out, "Hold on. What the actual hell?" Suddenly, a teammate yelled, "Just look at the Scorpion's trajectory. That absolute madman is specifically targeting the vulnerable bellies of the female monsters. The frenzied male beasts are literally turning on their own pack." Chaos erupted as the mutated fish began brutally devouring one another. The protagonist smirked inwardly. When these dying females actually perish, they leak a crazy potent pheromone that drives the males completely feral. Guarding their spawn, the frenzied beasts began slaughtering absolutely everything in sight. "We'll weaponize their instincts," our main character smirked, watching them brawl. Suddenly, a colossal nightmare lunged straight for their spot. "Boss dodge," Ching shrieked. A massive maw of razor-sharp teeth snapped wildly toward them. What even is that nightmare? An alpha female. Why is it so massive? But our protagonist just smirked. Perfect timing. "Phantom wolves, shred her," he commanded, thrusting his hand outward. Lethal spectral hounds launched at the hulking beast. They sank glowing fangs deep into her flesh. "Tough hide," he scoffed. Exactly what a level 15 elite boss brings. Even a six-pack of phantoms can't one-shot this tank. Gripping his blade tightly, a deadly glint flashed in his eyes. But if they pin her down, slaughtering this beast becomes child's play. Instantly, the system screen flared, confirming the elite predator's absolute execution. With a vicious slash, he ripped the monster's stomach wide open. Just like that. Snatching up the pulsing fish eggs, he left Ching completely baffled. "Boss, what's the crazy plan now?" Turning back, he commanded his phantom hound, still gripping the severed head, to scale the center boulder. The loyal beast vaulted perfectly onto the target mark. "Spot on," the main character cheered. The spectral wolf unhinged its jaws, unleashing an ear-piercing howl to forcefully summon the entire monster horde. Instantly, the enraged swarm swarmed the epicenter. "Hook, line, and sinker," he yelled. "Time to bait every single male." Catching the raw scent of the spawn, the beasts completely froze. They're totally paralyzed. The genius tactician knew this pheromone trap would act as the ultimate biological beacon to drive the entire monstrous frenzy completely insane. Blazing aura erupted around him as he aimed his palm forward. "We need way more chaos," he roared. "Serve them the deadliest cocktail." On cue, a fresh wave of his terrifying undead minions aggressively marched onto the chaotic battlefield. Tear them apart. The skeletal army clashed violently with the beasts. Watching the massacre, Rowan gasped, "Wait, is that their toxic blue venom?" Our hero smirked, confirming the brilliant theory. These alpha males naturally cultivate lethal blue toxin sacs, packing a punch like concentrated hellfire pepper. That repulsive toxic stench acts as nature's ultimate warning siren. Suddenly, agonizing screeches echoed through the cavern as the panic-stricken monsters violently scattered in absolute terror. A party member's jaw dropped in disbelief. No wonder they keep a 5-meter distance. They're absolutely terrified. "They're scared out of their minds," the protagonist scoffed. "Pathetically, they aren't even immune to their own venom. Once it hits, it's straight game over." Ching cheered wildly. They vanished, not a single monster left. Flexing his victory, the boss smirked. "Time to clear this side quest and vacuum up the epic drops." He then casually swan-dived off the cliff. His stunned teammates could only stare. He literally soloed the entire death zone. Utterly god-tier, overcome with pure fanboy energy, Ching dramatically clasped his hands, practically begging to be a mere accessory on his master's leg. Meanwhile, the main character ruthlessly butchered the massive carcasses, proudly declaring harvest complete. Scaling back up the drop, a glorious system prompt flashed, injecting him with a massive 12,000 experience points. His stats skyrocketed, pushing him straight to level 11. He smirked, knowing his brutal past-life combat experience gave him the ultimate cheat code for this flawless victory. Pulling off his tactical mask, he silently realized the gear heavily carried him through the massacre. What a ripoff, he grumbled salty, that his expensive 5 gold coin investment was merely a one-time use item. Hurts my wallet, but totally worth the crazy, flawless run. He then presented an empty flask, instantly drawing in swirling, glowing aura. Ding. The system confirmed 1,000 grams of putrid monster oil freshly harvested straight from the colossal beast's disgusting blubber in the mud wasteland. This nasty sludge was actually a top-tier healing potion ingredient, packing an insanely overpowered magical effect, capable of instantly regenerating rotted flesh and perfectly restoring cells. Suddenly, our hero locked eyes on a glowing crimson orb. Wait, almost missed the best part. A slick holographic system window violently popped open. Wave Caresser Node, ultra-rare silver-tier armor, crafted from cursed aquatic hide. This bouncy spherical shell emits a bizarre acoustic hum when forcefully squeezed, vibrating and glowing radiantly. This bizarre artifact oozed a foul, rotting fish stench, instantly sending lower-tier aquatic monsters into an absolute frenzy. Our main character stared, absolutely dumbfounded. The quest loot was top tier, but this design? Clearly some dev's twisted joke to troll players. Seriously, why did this overpowered relic look exactly like a ridiculous clown nose? Suddenly, Ching bounded over, eyes sparkling. Whoa, that is sick. It actually glows. Dude, it is even twitching. Our hero raised an eyebrow. You actually like this garbage? Ching practically vibrated. It is totally unique, boss. Name your price, seriously. Whatever it costs, I will pay it. Just then, Rowan face-palmed, grabbing his friend's shoulder. Sorry about him. He is always this embarrassing. The main character shot them a disgusted glare. Just take it. It is yours. Wait, hold up. Ching panicked. I have to pay you something. But our hero just scoffed, brushing it off. Instantly, massive, majestic wings erupted from his back. Ching shrieked in absolute awe. Holy crap, the boss is a literal angel. Rowan just stared blankly. Bro, what are you even smoking? Besides, who in their right mind would buy that trash? Fast forward to the dimly lit sanctuary. Our main character splashed the glowing elixir straight across Douglas's wounded chest. The knight gasped, jolting awake. He shot up, staring at his savior. I really thought I was a goner. Suddenly, a golden system chime echoed. Quest cleared. Douglas's despair. The jackpot dropped. A gleaming gold-tier weapon, the green spirit blade. He gripped the hilt, grinning. Finally, it is mine. This was his very first gold-rank powerhouse from his past life. The glowing holographic window flashed its legendary stats. Gold-tier effects. An insane plus 150 attack power, stacked with another 150 magic damage, plus 100 intelligence, and the absolute kicker, the exclusive passive skill, Cursed Seal of the Green Spirit. This deadly mark boasted a massive 100 to 150 meter range, blasting enemies for 150% damage, 0 cooldown, only 10 mana per cast. He smirked. Sure, the base stats might look a bit mid, but that Cursed Seal skill? It is an absolute game-changer in battle. Especially once those secret hidden passives trigger. Every single hit injects lethal spirit energy. Land 3 consecutive strikes, boom, a devastating 250% bonus damage explosion. Back in his previous life, this exact blade carved his path straight through the brutal western wastelands, crowning him the undisputed strongest mage of the dunes. As he admired the steel, another system notification rang out. Reputation unlocked. A massive 1,000 reputation points for the capital, plus another 500 with the elite Scorpion Knights. He nodded. Maybe it was not the massive haul from his past life, but it was plenty to unlock VIP city perks. Suddenly, a hidden interface flickered to life. His eyes widened. Wait, a bonus reward? For executing a flawless clear, the system granted him a rare NPC bond boost, plus 10 affinity points directly with Douglas. The timeline is already shifting, he realized. Douglas offered a warm, brotherly grin. Man, I owe you my life. Without your intervention, I would have rotted within a month. Our hero just shrugged it off casually. As payback, I need to warn you about something dark. Our main character perked up. Was this hidden lore triggered by the affinity boost? The knight's tone turned dead serious. If you ever cross paths with a man named Quincy, run. Our hero frowned. Quincy? He is literally my master. Why? Douglas recoiled in absolute shock. Your master? Even hidden behind that fake class. You are a forbidden soul reaper. Am I right? The knight instantly vaulted out of his sickbed. The main character's aura instantly sharpened. His eyes went cold. How did you know? My stats are completely masked. Not even Quincy could pierce my disguise. Douglas exhaled heavily. Back during my active duty in the Scorpion Tail Vanguard, we served as the King's personal Black Ops unit. Our primary target? Hunting down every last Soul Reaper. To survive, I mastered a deadly passive, Darkness Recognition. Our hero narrowed his eyes. Darkness Recognition? The knight nodded grimly. It is our order's ultimate tracking technique. The second a Reaper steps into my zone, my internal radar goes absolutely crazy. The closer the shadow, the louder the alarm bells ring. So you saw right through me from day one? He realized this world had literal anti-Reaper countermeasures built in. Douglas stared at his trembling palms. No, the lethal venom shattered my senses. Initially, I was completely blind to your aura, but purged of that poison, my radar is flawless. You reek of the Dark Lord's energy, and no disguise can mask that. The Dark Lord? Our hero asked, intrigued. Douglas sighed. To explain that, we have to dig into ancient, blood-stained history. The immortal realm's greatest myth centers around 5 supreme beings: the gods of light, moonshadow, nature, water, and soul. But humanity forgot the 6th sovereign, the Dark Lord. Crowned as the king of the dead, his absolute power eclipsed them all, intoxicated by this supremacy. He ruled with terrifying freedom. He shattered the system's rules, forcefully awakening his loyal zealots into twisted, dark-class monstrosities, corrupting them into soul reapers, completely stripping their free will to violently execute the Dark Lord's twisted commands. These grim reapers unleashed catastrophic plagues that slaughtered millions, resurrecting those very corpses into a devastating zombie horde. Humanity finally banded together to crush the Dark Lord, obliterating his temples and burning every historical trace. The remaining reapers were hunted down, and the cursed class was permanently outlawed. Clutching his chest, Douglas revealed that one of those exact reapers had lethally poisoned him, leaving him in agonizing torment for 10 whole years. He had totally accepted his grim fate, until our main character miraculously showed up. Our boy furrowed his brows, processing this insane lore. As a basic mage in his past life, he never suspected this myth concealed such dark truths. No wonder the Reaper class is totally blacklisted. Thank God he kept his overpowered stats strictly low-key, but this entire situation just got 10 times more complicated. He figured that fixing the Amanus situation would easily unlock some massive clues about that mysterious emblem hidden safely in the capital. But now, if he fails to mask the Dark Lord's demonic aura, his forbidden class gets instantly leaked. Gripping with anxiety, he asked Douglas if there was any loophole to dodge the Dark Order of the Scorpion Tail's radar. Douglas clenched his trembling fists and muttered, "Only Quincy could pull this off." However, if Quincy discovers his true class, our guy is instantly dead meat, since a Reaper brutally murdered Quincy's wife. That absolute tragedy is exactly why Douglas warned him to steer clear. Flash forward to the desolate rocky desert. Our hero confidently marched ahead, as a system prompt confirmed his arrival at the wasteland. 10 minutes prior, a totally frantic Douglas had screamed at him, "Have you completely lost your marbles? You are seriously approaching Quincy? That dude literally fantasizes about ripping every single Soul Reaper to bloody shreds." Our main character locked eyes with him, flatly stating he had 0 alternatives left. He knew deeply that failing to conceal this suffocating Dark Lord aura would put him in catastrophic danger. He desperately needs to erase it. Suddenly, his instincts flared, as a hostile energy spike surged right at him. Glancing over his shoulder, he scoffed. What now? He flawlessly dodged sideways, demanding to know who dared to interrupt him. Fei Long stepped out, boasting that he had been patiently stalking him for ages, and finally cornered his prey. Smirking wickedly, Fei Hu chimed in that previously, our boy somehow escaped their trap, but today he brought 30 ruthless guildmates. He arrogantly slung his massive weapon over his shoulder. Fei Long aggressively pushed forward, sneering, "Are you finally ready to meet your maker?" Fei Hu flashed a psychotic grin, adding that when the blade drops, he better scream at the top of his lungs for their entertainment. Suddenly, a mechanical drone bug buzzed overhead, blasting a viral livestream notification to everyone's devices. The infamous Blood Guild was broadcasting live. Their toxic leader enthusiastically welcomed all the incredibly lucky viewers tuning into the show. He hyped up the chat, bragging about this exclusive content. Fei Hu smirked at the camera, promising a brutal masterclass on how to completely butcher this lone player. The live view count instantly spiked to 212, flooding the chat with absolute shock. Wait, the Blood Guild is relentlessly spawn-killing innocent noobs. On a public stream again? Crazy. 30 players jumping one guy. Who is unlucky enough to cross paths with this toxic guild? One chatter recognized our handsome protagonist, typing that it was a total tragedy this absolute stud was about to get deleted. Unbothered, our main character coldly announced, "You guys are just pathetic errand boys, not even worth a proper warm-up. Since you are literally begging for death, I guess I am forced to slaughter you all again." The livestream chat exploded with mockery, spamming, "Wow, look at this edgelord. Blood Guild. Absolutely wreck this guy." They ruthlessly roasted him for acting tough, grabbing their virtual popcorn while eagerly anticipating his humiliating downfall. Triggered by his disrespect, Fei Long furiously roared, "Slaughter him." The vanguard charged like beasts while a mage unleashed a crackling lightning strike. The magical apprentice locked onto his target, screaming for his blood. Right on cue, an epic system notification flashed, announcing, a malicious ambush was officially detected. It granted a sweet 15-minute self-defense window, meaning any counter kills secured within this epic time frame would completely bypass the player killer penalty. Our boy casually planted his heavy blade, flashing a devilish smirk as he boldly declared, 15 minutes is more than enough to wipe your entire squad 3 times over. Awaken, my undead legion, it is playtime. Instantly, his terrifying zombie horde materialized across the battlefield. Swatting the air lazily, our guy mocked the incoming spell as incredibly pathetic. You actually call that weak spark lightning? He effortlessly swatted the electrical charge rocketing toward him before commanding his massive thunder scorpion to unleash its venom. In a blinding flash, the monstrous beast lunged, brutally impaling a screaming attacker with its razor-sharp stinger. Total panic erupted as the Blood Guild boss frantically roared, "Listen up! Melee fighters fall back immediately and hold the defensive line. Mages, cast your heaviest spells. Rogues and snipers, rain down absolute hellfire." Instantly, the backline began channeling explosive magical mana, screaming to push beyond their limits. Suddenly, a highly leveled sorcerer condensed a massively terrifying sphere of pure voltage into his staff, blasting it like a laser directly into our hero's undead forces. Deadly arrows violently shredded the zombie frontline. Instantly, the stream's live viewer count rapidly plummeted, dropping from 212 straight down to a miserable 168. The bored audience violently spammed the chat, claiming this elite level 8 squad easily obliterates basic trash summons. Viewers started rage quitting, calling our guy just another delusional noob flexing for clout. Trolls started dropping toxic bets, gambling heavy coins on exactly how many seconds this solo player would actually survive. Just then, Fei Long aggressively stepped up, demanding an answer. "So what if bro plays Necromancer?" Fei Hu scoffed. "Even if he drops that giant boss again, my squad will shred it to dust." Fei Hu declared today was the MC's funeral, but our boy just smirked. "Is that so?" The guild leader's confidence suddenly vanished. In a flash, the frontline mage stumbled back, letting out a blood-curdling shriek. The very earth betrayed them. The desert morphed into a massive quicksand vortex, swallowing players whole. Plunging downward, one mage spotted the kobold chieftain, lunging straight for his throat. Pure terror echoed as an endless tide of undead swarmed the pit, obliterating everything. Trapped guildmates shrieked in absolute despair, leaving their shot callers completely paralyzed. Meanwhile, the livestream counter skyrocketed, hitting 302 viewers. The chat was going feral. "Bro, what is happening? An ambush from below? Those skeletons are moving in formation. Y'all really called this guy a noob? Thought he got wiped out?" Now the haters were the ones eating dirt. Chat spammed laughing emojis until a panicked caster roared, "Watch out, the pit is totally toxic. Pop your cleanses right now, then spam those healing spells." Too late. A devastating beam of pure mana, blasted directly from our MC, completely wiped their front line. Without missing a beat, the protagonist whipped around and plunged his blade straight into an ambusher's chest. The rogue gasped. "How did you?" The MC scoffed. "Only an idiot tries to stealth in moving sand." The survivors completely panicked. "He's too OP. Our shields are wiped. Fall back." Watching his empire crumble, Fei Hu's face twisted into pure, unfiltered demonic fury. "You absolutely useless trash," he roared, launching himself into the air. "I'll carve you up myself." Unbothered, the MC channeled a terrifying aura into his blade. "Eat this," he snapped. A swarm of shrieking phantom skulls erupted outward. It was the legendary Green Soul Curse. Fei Hu slammed the brakes, his rage instantly turning to absolute dread. "What the?" Gliding past the frozen guild leader, the MC coldly whispered, "Execute." Without looking back, he counted. 3, 2, 1. Boom. Fei Hu detonated into absolute pixel dust, wiping the entire battlefield clean. The protagonist calmly sheathed his glowing blade. "Not bad for a rusty weapon," he smirked. Meanwhile, the stream was absolutely cooking, surging to 558 viewers. Chat was losing its mind. Bro definitely swiped his credit card. That trash-talking boss literally became a fireworks display. Talked all that big game just to get one-shotted. MC needs to hire that dude as his personal hype man. The system officially pinged. Fei Hu had rage quit the server. Standing alone amidst the echoing screams of his dying guildmates, the Bloody Guild's last survivor questioned his own sanity. This rookie had leveled up in days, transforming into a literal raid boss. The MC's icy stare locked onto him. Dropping to his knees, the once proud guild officer bawled like a baby, begging for his life. Slowly closing the distance, our protagonist whispered, "Time to experience true despair." He leveled his blood-soaked sword right between the man's eyes. A single, swift strike severed the connection. "Game over," he muttered. Spotting a tiny surveillance bug nearby, he smirked. "Almost forgot you." Zap. The floating camera popped into sparks. Ah, peace and quiet at last. Cut to a neon-lit penthouse in the real world. Elite players were absolutely buzzing. Who the heck is this guy breaking the stream? Anyone got his tag? His stats are unreal. I swear I saw him solo that giant alpha wolf. Drop his coordinates right now. I need to recruit this absolute legend. Tracker says he's out in the scorched canyons. Instantly, the mercenary union fired off an S-rank invite. Meanwhile, deep in a tavern, offline, Feihu slammed his energy drink on the desk, cursing the Yuan immortal world. Back in-game, amidst swirling dust, Quincy slumped against a barrel. Kicking the door open, the MC walked in. Quincy groaned. You again? I'm not giving out quests today. My pockets are full. I'm literally off the clock. But our protagonist wasn't taking no for an answer. Stepping closer, he demanded a serious chat. A system prompt flashed. The MC boldly disabled his class concealment aura. Instantly, the atmosphere in the entire room dropped below freezing. Crash! Quincy's clay jug slipped, shattering into a million pieces. Murderous intent flooded his eyes. You're a filthy soul reaper? Grinding his teeth like stones, he growled. Do you have a death wish? Waltzing right up to me with that cursed class? Boom! Raw, explosive mana surged into the old man's palm. He fired a devastating shockwave, completely obliterating the tavern's storage area. Lethal shrapnel rained down, but the MC effortlessly ghosted through the debris. Quincy gasped. His speed is insane. Instantly, our boy closed the gap, pressing cold steel right against the NPC's throat. Now, are we ready to talk? Quincy swallowed hard. What? What do you want? Flashback to the hidden lore. Before the era of ruin, when the Lord of Darkness still cast his absolute shadow over everything, the immortal realm was drowning in pure agony. Playing hero, Quincy and his beloved clashed against the Dark Lord's most fanatic enforcer. They slaughtered the Dark Soul Reaper, but with his dying breath, he cast a sick hex. While Quincy's wife tried healing him, abyssal shadows swallowed her very soul. Her precious memories were wiped entirely, twisting her into a mindless, bloodthirsty monster for eternity. The only cure? Overpower the demonic corruption inside her. But brutally scarred from the war, Quincy was now too weak to even lift his blade. Everyone assumed eternal grief consumed him, until he suddenly dropped a bombshell secret quest. Save his beloved, claim his massive wealth. Plus, the Soul Reaper could shatter the encroaching darkness, a dead Reaper's miraculous gift. Quincy's true motive? Bait greedy players, rescue his bride, and ruthlessly annihilate every last Reaper. Yet, all 158 challengers who accepted this suicidal hunt vanished without a trace. Our main character demanded quest details. Quincy smirked, eyes snapping shut. Fine. I was expecting company anyway. He craved one final twisted game with his darling. Suddenly, a blue holographic screen flashed. Quincy's hidden quest unlocked. Accept the challenge. Quest title: Dead Wife's Soul. Objective: liberate Quincy's bride and pacify her restless spirit. Time limit: 10 days. Difficulty: Silver tier. Without hesitation, our hero smashed the accept button. Striding toward the exit, Quincy offered a chillingly polite, "Good luck." A wicked smirk crossed his face. He doubted this arrogant rookie would return in one piece. Later, deep in Duststone City's freezing northern sector, loomed the monument to the fallen. Pushing down a dark corridor, he quickly chugged a night vision potion. His undead squad marched closely behind. Pausing near a blind corner, he strategized. This creepy tomb spans 5 massive floors. Every dead NPC rests here. Suddenly, wood splintered as a rotting zombie erupted from its coffin, lunging for his throat. But his loyal scorpion instantly impaled it. He figured as much. Resurrected trash mobs constantly spawn down here. Zombies, skeletons, and poltergeists. The deeper you go, the deadlier these monsters get. Floor 1 spawns weak level 1 to 3 zombies. Floor 2 holds level 4 to 6 skeletons. Floor 3 unleashes level 7 to 9 spirits. And Floor 4? Level 10. Elite ghouls. Halting before a glowing portal, our hero confidently declared, "Let's skip the trash and jump straight to Floor 4. Soon after arriving, he cautiously advanced through the gloom. Echoing growls caught his attention. Instantly, a monstrous ghoul triggered wall walking, while a pack activated the Frozen Tear ability. The system chimed. Ghoul Elite, Level 10, HP 2000, Attack 400, Defense 40. Skills: Rot-Infected Bite, Wall Walking, Frozen Tear. The closest freak lunged, jaws dripping with rot-infected bite. Unfazed, our hero roared. Bring it on. Instantly, his scorpion summon unleashed its earth-splitting claw. It brutally smashed the ground, blasting one ghoul away, then whipped its tail, crushing several more. Sensing the opening, our hero gathered his blistering aura and blitzed forward. Strike, he bellowed. His blade shredded the frontline ghoul before he dashed deeper into the mob. He became a blur, mercilessly slicing multiple ghouls into ribbons. Spotting a solitary survivor cowering below, he smirked. Almost forgot you. Crunch. He brutally stomped its skull in. The system pinged. Level up to 12. Surveying the resulting carnage, he chuckled at how effortlessly they were wiped out. Sadly, his coveted monster revival spell only worked on regular corpses, making it utterly useless against these undead rejects. Suddenly, a massive energy spike triggered his instincts. A devastating magic laser blasted the wall. Barely dodging the lethal strike, he cursed loudly. What the hell? But the overwhelming blast radius caught him, violently teleporting him away. Hitting dirt, he aggressively skidded to a halt, frantically scanning the area. A massive chain-bound capsule dangled ominously above. A hidden map? Trapped inside was a terrifying, vengeful ghost. Licking her lips with psychotic glee, she cackled, "Fresh meat! Finally!" Boom! The thick chain snapped as the capsule violently exploded. Hovering maliciously mid-air, she hissed, "Oh, I smell fresh blood." System warning. Vengeful Ghost Lord. HP 6000. Attack 800. Defense 200. Skills. Death Flower. Succubus Roar. Body Explosion. This had to be the dreaded 5th floor. Without warning, the demonic spirit dive-bombed him, screeching about ripping him to shreds. Sparks flew as his blade blocked her lethal claws. Warning. Death Flower skill initiated. Disgusting flesh tendrils whipped forward like spears. Backflipping gracefully to evade the deadly strikes, he realized, "It's corrosive acid." Smirking confidently, he taunted, "Cheap tricks won't save you." His sword became a blinding flurry of slashes, effortlessly amputating the toxic tentacles. Enraged, the ghostly boss unleashed an ear-shattering, demonic shriek. The system immediately flared red, displaying her succubus roar activation. Clutching his ringing ears, he panicked. An AoE attack? No, she's casting a massive summon. The unholy frequency ripped through the chamber. His expression darkened as he glanced sideways, spotting a rotting skeletal hand bursting from the soil. Were these the fallen NPCs of Duststone City awakening? Dozens more clawed their way out. Wait, not just NPCs. These are players who died failing Quincy's impossible quest. Damn it, she's raising a literal undead army, he growled. Skeletons kept pouring out. There's an endless horde behind those gates. He seriously doubted this nightmare boss was limited to just basic skeleton mobs. He commanded his undead legion to push forward. Pointing sharply, he ordered them to barricade that door. The skeletal kobolds charged. Let his undead army handle the trash mobs first, he calculated. Thrusting his hand out, he triggered the Bloodlust buff. The system chimed. Bloodlust activated. Crimson rage flared in the kobold's eyes as he barked, "Kobold Chieftain, Thunder Scorpion, wipe them out." The system flashed. Earth-cleaving claw engaged. The earth shattered toward the boss. The chieftain unleashed crushing strike, but the phantom boss drifted upward, smoothly evading the fatal blow. Glaring up, she spotted massive boulders plummeting from the ceiling, and swiftly phased aside. He narrowed his eyes. Phantoms are ethereal entities, meaning they can clip through solid matter. Plus, they nullify basic physical strikes. Channeling a heavy aura, he smirked. Too bad he hits with double physical damage. Instantly, he unleashed his assault. A barrage of screaming skulls blasted toward her. He roared, casting Curse of the Green Soul. She zipped around the arena, her speed drastically spiking. Hostile NPCs could flood this tomb any time. He had to speedrun this boss fight. Snatching a ring from his inventory, he decided to lock her down. He gripped it tight. System alert. Ring of Paralysis equipped. Ring of Paralysis, Silver Tier Gear, buffs, HP plus 10, Mana plus 100, Agility plus 15, Intelligence plus 15. Bonus passive, Paralytic Toxin. Paralytic Toxin adds a 5% chance to paralyze the target for 3 seconds per strike. Without hesitation, he dashed in and triggered the Paralytic Toxin passive. His blade connected, instantly stunning the boss. The system confirmed the toxin hit. Gripping his sword, he scoffed, "We are not done." He unleashed a brutal slash, launching the phantom away. He skidded to a halt as she crashed hard. "Not shabby," he muttered. Just as planned, one hit from the Green Soul Curse completely tanked her mobility. Thrusting his hand out, he commanded, "Wolf roar." His massive beast unleashed its deafening howl. A violent shockwave ripped through the air. System ping. Target stunned. 5 seconds of stun is all I need, he smirked. Twirling his blade effortlessly, he taunted, "Let's see how much damage she can tank." Her health bar melted away until she shrieked in agony. Warning, boss casting Dead Man's Explosion. Suddenly, a catastrophic blast violently tore through the chamber, instantly vaporizing several of his undead minions. He anchored his sword into the floor, fighting the shockwave. Dead Man's Explosion? This crazy phantom was detonating the zombie NPCs to bury them alive. He lost a third of his legion. This was getting sweaty. He yelled, "Time to finish this." He blitzed forward, roaring for her total deletion. She shrieked, "Never." System alert. Boss health critical. 300 HP, 200 HP, 100 HP, 30 HP. Her phantom form dissolved into pixels. System message. Evil spirit eliminated. 800 EXP gained. He stepped forward, muttering, "Is the raid cleared?" Turning back, a gentle spirit appeared, deeply thanking him for his bravery. Suddenly, a glowing loot drop materialized right into his open palm. System alert. Beloved's ring. Bound quest item. Unsellable. Lore. Quincy gifted this engagement ring to his wife. He inspected it, wondering if that was the only drop. Then, a glowing tome caught his eye. What is this? Little did he know, the dead explosion skill was exclusively for Soul Reapers. The system scanned his compatibility for the elite training requirements. Since a Dark King's loyalist sealed this ghost, the system instantly hardwired the skill book into his memory. As he gripped the tome, blinding rays of golden light erupted from his hands, washing over the dark tomb. System notification. Dead explosion. Gold tier level 1. Effect. Detonates zombies for 60% area of effect fire damage when player HP is maxed. Cost. 100 mana. 10-second cooldown. 100 mastery. He totally planned to spam this zombie bomb hack. The insane damage and blast scale completely blew his mind. Later, amidst crumbling stone dust, Quincy stared in absolute shock, recognizing the very engagement ring he once gave his beloved. A caged spirit remembers absolutely nothing. Only upon its liberation do fragments of the past return, forcing it to sacrifice its most treasured possession. Tell me, was her end swift? Did she suffer? Quincy pleaded. The protagonist gave a solemn nod as the man gripped the ring tightly. He stared at the band, lost in memories of her face. Tears blurred his vision as his voice cracked with overwhelming emotion. That brings me peace, he choked out. He never imagined that a despised soul reaper, the very beings he loathed with all his heart, would actually fulfill his deepest desire. Etching this mercy into his soul, he dropped into a deep bow of sheer gratitude. Out of nowhere, a mysterious chest materialized in his grasp. The time had come to honor their pact. Inside rested a legendary headpiece. The system screen flared. Crown of Darkness, a totally unique helmet. Its first massive perk, completely masking the user's sin level. The second effect flawlessly hides any malicious aura. As a Supreme Soul Reaper artifact, this busted gear is absolutely indestructible and unsellable. Yuan inspected the loot, his eyes locking onto the dark metal. Despite its incredibly limited stat pool, this was pure gold to him. These specific stealth buffs were exactly what he desperately craved. Masking his sinister presence meant he could utterly crush the Scorpion Tail Order and freely roam the capital without triggering massive alarms. A holographic prompt popped up, asking if he wanted to equip the legendary headgear. Hell yes, Yuan smirked. Brilliant arcane energy instantly erupted around him. With this insane power-up, the ultimate truth was finally within reach. Hours later, he breached the gates of Sandy Winds City. The bustling metropolis overflowed with hardcore factions and desperate recruiters screaming for fresh blood. Some literally bribed newbies with backflipping guildmasters just to get their attention. Massive recruitment drives were popping off everywhere for hungry fighters. Elite squads fiercely threw out aggressive invitations left and right. Ignoring the noise, Yuan locked his razor-sharp gaze onto his glowing interface. The glowing panel cleanly ranked the top 10 powerhouse factions. His elusive target was definitely lurking in the shadows of one of these titan groups. Posing as a clueless rookie in this sandy fortress, infiltrating these exclusive, high-tier organizations was going to be a brutally tough challenge, but he absolutely had to crack their ranks somehow. As he navigated the chaotic alleyways, Yuan sharply pivoted around a blind corner and purposefully slammed his boot into the dirt. The echoing crack shattered the dead silence, instantly putting a heavily armored knight on massive alert. The stalker violently flinched and froze in his tracks. Slipping through the shadows, Yuan pressed his lethal blade right against the stranger's spine. "Who the hell are you?" he growled with killing intent. The cornered kid absolutely froze in pure terror, unable to form a single word. Breaking the tense silence, the guy spun around with blazing fanboy energy. "Lord Yuan, it is actually you," Ching screamed, practically vibrating with hype. He aggressively lunged for a hug, but Yuan smoothly dodged, letting the kid eat absolute dirt. "I asked a question," Yuan demanded coldly. Scrambling up, Ching kept dropping the Lord title, totally blown away by the recognition. Closing the distance, Yuan dropped his voice to a whisper. "How do you know my identity?" The absolute fanboy jumped to his feet, wildly pointing at his own chest while screaming about being noticed. He babbled about the Bloody Guild's massive livestream, having obsessively read over 1,000 comments about the legendary player. Then, he dropped 2 million, just to juice up a corporate facial recognition AI to track his idol down. Ching stood there, beaming, totally expecting a massive pat on the back. Instead, the protagonist stared at him in sheer disbelief. "Wait, 2 million? You blew a total fortune just to stalk my coordinates?" Tilting his head, Ching looked genuinely confused. Is that supposed to be a massive flex? The Han Corporation casually burns through roughly 100 million just for basic software debugging. Yuan's mind raced. Han Corporation? The absolute titan of the tech industry, wielding a massive $1 trillion empire that literally controls global technology. If this kid is royalty, his insider knowledge could be terrifyingly deep. His hand twitched, contemplating a quick execution. Unaware of his impending doom, Ching suddenly shrieked, "Lord Yuan, please party up with me. Tomorrow, the absolute S-rank monsters are raiding Bloodscale Cave. The whole server is going completely crazy because rumors claim a massive iron-eating iguana nest just spawned. We just need mid-sentence." The clumsy rich kid completely beefed it over a random rock, crashing face down into the dirt right at Yuan's boots. Rolling his eyes, the rogue ordered the stalker to get lost. He wasn't running a daycare. Dusting himself off, Ching nervously chuckled. He admitted a god-tier solo player obviously didn't need any dead weight, slowing down his epic monster grinding. Apparently, the Ebony Guild's 3rd Division was heavily scouting the raid for fresh meat. If an insanely skilled rogue styled on the competition, getting drafted into their elite ranks was totally guaranteed. Checking his glowing HUD, Yuan noted the Ebony Guild currently sat at rank 10. Sighing dramatically, the rejected fanboy mumbled about totally soloing the brutal dungeon raid all by himself. But right before he walked away, Yuan's cold voice cut through the air, demanding the exact raid schedule. Whipping around with sparkling eyes, Ching practically vibrated with pure excitement. "Wait, really?" he gasped. As Yuan impatiently repeated his question, the overjoyed kid screamed that the massive event was kicking off tomorrow. At exactly 8 in the morning, desperate to seal the deal, Ching charged forward for an epic high five, but before he could connect, Yuan fiercely palmed the kid's face, strictly ordering him to use the alias Ling Yuan. Regardless of the crazy fanboy, it was time to prep. Fast forward to the bandit vulture base, where thick, choking smoke absolutely swallowed the entire camp. Out of nowhere, a blinding inferno detonated. Stepping through the devastating carnage of utterly shredded monsters, Yuan smirked. The zone boss was definitely lurking just ahead as his glowing status screen flickered. The system identified these undead grunts as vulture bandits, level 12, boasting 1,600 HP, 250 attack power, 70 defense, packing nasty sickle throws, and annoying resurrection skills. Yuan found himself completely cornered by a massive griffin swarm. Cracking his knuckles, he chose violence. Ready to throw hands, another flock of screeching beasts suddenly crashed right into the war zone. Pointing forward, Yuan barked the attack order. Mana surged through his veins as the bloodbath commenced. System prompt. Sickle throw activated. The deadly blade ripped through the air, slamming the earth and obliterating his targets. A stunned griffin dropped its guard, buying the perfect opening for Yuan to warp behind and slash his blade. Roaring that their souls belonged to him, a notification popped up. The bandit gang leader was officially exterminated. 3 griffins dropped dead, quickly followed by another trio. A flawless 10-kill streak. Pausing to breathe, he squinted at the massive throne ahead. The alpha beast had vanished. The system immediately flashed a warning. The vulture bandit boss was a level 19 lord, packing a massive 6,200 HP pool, 820 attack, 220 defense, armed with sickle throw, stealth, and lethal backstab. Backstab was already triggered. Sensing the ambush, Yuan instantly channeled his mana and unleashed Corpse Explosion. "Perish!" he roared at the beasts. Toxic green aura blazed fiercely from his glowing eyes, and a massive shockwave decimated the entire zone, wiping out the enemy mob with absolute ease. Amidst the smoke, a surviving griffin shrieked. Yuan vanished into a blur of terrifying speed, locking onto his next prey. Channeling his shadow gauntlets, he punched a brutal hole through the creature's chest. "Welcome to hell," he bellowed. A split second later, blinding chain explosions rattled the entire battlefield, confirming the vulture boss was finally slaughtered. The chaos settled, and a golden congratulatory message popped up. Level 13 achieved. He checked his loot. Dark Curse, a level 3 gold tier, inflicts 20% damage, healing allied zombies for 20% of enemy HP. Costs 60 mana, with a 60-second cooldown timer. Then Corpse Explosion, level 2 gold rarity, detonates an undead minion for massive fire damage, burning 80% HP, draining 100 mana per use. It rocks a 10-second cooldown, currently sitting at 2 out of 100 mastery. Scanning the glowing holographic panels, Yuan froze in deep thought. The system AI immediately chimed in, offering a skill upgrade. Smirking confidently, he hit accept, stroking his chin as he calculated his next power play. "These buffs are seriously broken," he muttered. Tearing a skill enhancement scroll, he instantly boosted his Dark Curse, pushing it straight to level 3, while massively buffing Corpse Explosion. His undead legion was completely stacked for now, rocking an army of 130 zombies. Suddenly, a level 15 undead vulture boss spawned, boasting 3,500 HP, 500 attack, 100 defense, equipped with heart throw, stealth, and resurrection. Rising before him, right behind it, the true level 19 undead bandit lord materialized from the shadows. 6,200 HP, 820 attack, 220 defense, wielding sickle throw, stealth, resurrection, and venomous claws. That toxic buff stacked an extra 20 points of absolute poison damage. Reading the glowing text, it clicked. Yuan had literally turned the savage bandit lord into his personal undead puppet. Wait, did it roll a bonus skill? Taming the giant death wolf had unlocked the rare Resurrection Fury buff. Would reviving an Island Lord tier monster drop an exclusive ability? A wicked grin crept across his face. Warning, the survival hunt commences in 2 hours. Hyped for the chaos, Yuan knew it was time to gear up. A while later, a massive clang echoed deep inside the treacherous Bloodscale cave. A blinding flash forced Yuan to shield his eyes. Bro, are you literally cosplaying a shiny gold trophy? He roasted. Ching flexed hard, bragging he dropped 50 gold coins on a blacksmith for this ridiculously overpowered armor set. He proudly swore he would carry the whole team today. But then, snap, his heavy metal belt completely snapped. His metallic pants instantly dropped to his ankles. Yuan aggressively facepalmed, while Ching froze in pure, unadulterated shock. Breaking the awkward silence, Yuan sarcastically muttered he had never seen wireless armor before. Absolutely wild. Sweating bullets, Ching defensively stammered that the scammer blacksmith claimed it was peak modern fashion. His oversized helmet abruptly slid down, blinding him completely. Ching panicked, screaming blindly for a rescue, while Yuan just stared deadpan. Flailing wildly, Ching tripped straight over Yuan's boot, letting out a pathetic shriek as he crashed hard into the dirt. Smack! He crashed into solid steel, a sharp click echoing in the air. Glancing up, absolute confusion washed over him. A towering behemoth of a man blocked his path, glaring down. Flashing a fake smile, the giant purred. You good? It was Kui, and the glowing system window confirmed his identity. Ebony Guild, 3rd Squad Captain, a level 15 warrior class. Panic gripped Ching instantly. What on earth was happening right now? The guy was smiling, but his aura felt like a venomous snake ready to strike. Was it just pure paranoia? Out of nowhere, our MC yanked him by the collar, pulling him close. He deadpanned, "Gonna ditch that goofy armor anytime soon?" Ching just scratched the back of his neck, flashing a goofy grin. Kui watched their banter, a faint, chilling smirk forming. Instantly, our MC caught the stare, his guard shooting up. Inside, Kui was seething. How dare this cocky little punk lock eyes with him? His blood boiled. Right then, a loud voice barked, "Who the heck is Han Ching here?" A lackey checked his files, pointed a finger straight at Ching, and yelled, "That is him? Why does he look so totally ridiculous?" The whole squad erupted into ruthless, mocking laughter. At his blindingly tacky gold gear, they roasted his flashy fit, asking if he was lost looking for an anime convention, or something. Ching just waved cheerfully. "Yep, that is me, the intimidating guy. You three must be the Ebony Guild big shots, right?" He totally wanted to introduce his buddy. Before he could, a squad leader marched up, pressing a razor-sharp blade right against him. "Enough chatter. We do not care about some random newbie names. Know your place. You are only tagging along today not for some tax loophole, but purely out of our captain's sheer mercy." Yuan narrowed his eyes, staying completely silent. Kui casually stepped in. "Play nice with our new meat shields," the lackey smirked. "Just messing around, Captain." With that, he sheathed his sword, warning them not to get too comfortable just because their leader was playing Mr. Nice Guy. Today, they better kiss the ground and be extremely grateful. Got it? Ching frantically bobbed his head, promising they would bust their guts out. A guild member sharply clapped his hands together, ordering everyone into formation for an immediate head count. Andre was literally shaking in his boots. He never imagined raiding with the main guild. Yuan silently questioned if these guys survived S-rank dungeons. His teammate desperately prayed they wouldn't become dead weight mid-battle, while Yuan scoffed internally. Did they really think they were clueless noobs straight out of the starter zone? Captain Kui marched ahead, announcing it was go time. "Gear up, clock is ticking. And chill out," he bragged, "because even the Grim Reaper fears the Blackwood Guild. You are all totally untouchable today." The guild lackeys roared their battle cries, following closely. Suddenly, a guy glanced back at Ching, who was holding a tiny red flag. He hoisted it high, waving frantically, yelling for Yuan to hurry. Rumor said creepy slime monsters lurked inside. Yuan sighed heavily, wondering if Ching thought this was a literal field trip. Our MC trailed silently behind. A dark smirk formed as a sickening, familiar stench hit his nose. Plunging deeper into Bloodscale Cave, They hit a massive, creepy crossroad. 0 iron biters in sight so far, totally normal, since those nasty bugs hunt at night. Right now, they were definitely hibernating way deep in the abyss. A nervous rookie gulped, asking the captain which dark tunnel they should brave. Kui smiled mischievously, declaring it was time to split the party. Absolute panic erupted. The rookies freaked out. Split up? Bro, are you insane? What if an elite level 16 boss ambushes us out of nowhere? A veteran player scoffed, telling the newbies to chill out. To guarantee a death-free run, the captain already scouted the entire dungeon beforehand. They cleared the vanguard and were just taking a breather. Wait, seriously? He solo scouted this entire death trap? Kui flashed a proud grin, confirming the flex. He sensed heavy iron biter pheromones blocking the central route. It was swarming with pure nightmare fuel, making it basically a suicide mission, while the side tunnels were totally safe. But hey, higher risk equals crazy high-tier loot drops. So, taking one for the team, his mighty guild would tank the deadly middle route. You guys just cruise down the safe sides. Cool? The rookies instantly worshipped him. No wonder. They are the top-tier guild. Such absolute legends. As the mighty third captain of the Ebony Squad, his high-level authority was absolute law. Smirking, our MC pointed a single finger. We are taking the left tunnel. Kui spun on his heel, echoing the command. They were taking the left path. The rest of the guys eagerly nodded, but whispers broke out. Who was going to babysit Qing and Yuan? The crew started murmuring amongst themselves, pointing out that Yuan's weird gear gave off total pro vibes. Plus, the dude was seriously good looking. While they bickered over team-ups, Kui smoothly suggested the duo fly solo. Too bad for him, even as the squad leader, he couldn't force anyone's hand. Yuan just locked eyes with Qing and signaled to move out. As they vanished into the shadows, the captain watched, flashing a wicked smirk. What absolute losers. Moments later, icy water started echoing from the cavern roof. Qing shivered, shooting Yuan a nervous glare. The temperature was nosediving, and his gut screamed that this was a trap. Invisible eyes seemed to pierce right through his skull, the suffocating pressure ramping up with every single heartbeat. Yuan let out a dry chuckle. Took him long enough to notice? They definitely weren't alone. Qing whipped around, barking. What do you mean? Captain Kui swore this zone was totally clear. Yuan just glanced back, a knowing grin playing on his lips, and asked, did he seriously trust that snake? This was an S-rank raid, yet the place was packed with clueless rookies. It was a textbook bait and switch to trigger the traps. Qing's jaw dropped in horror. Then why drag him into this? Before the panic fully set in, our main character cut him off. Why didn't he expose their dirty little secret? Without warning, Yuan snatched a gooey slime off the rocky wall and chucked it into the abyss. He casually brushed it off as coincidence, claiming he was just curious about what was lurking. Suddenly, they froze in their tracks, a deafening roar. Ripped through the pitch-black tunnels. The jackpot was waiting right here. Deep in the cavern's throat, pairs of blood-red eyes sliced through the dark. The system pinged. Iron biters. Elite class. Level 16. 3,300 health. 4,400 attack. 100 defense. Packing skills like Iron Tail Strike and Rusty Shield. The beasts unrolled their massive, razor-sharp tongues, slithering closer. Meanwhile, back with the main group, a fighter buried his greatsword into the dirt, roaring that these freaks were about to get roasted. Blinding hellfire erupted everywhere, swallowing the screeching monsters in a raging inferno of pure light. A blade tore right through a beast's gut, splitting the monster perfectly in half. The warrior howled, craving more carnage. A teammate smirked at Kui, bragging about how their little rookie sacrifices were drawing out all the aggro, turning this raid into a total breeze. Kui scoffed in disbelief. Did those idiots really swallow his lies that easily? He burst into a villainous laugh, plotting how the second those newbies became monster chow, the surrounding dungeon bosses would be totally drained. Then his elite squad would just sweep in, snatch all the epic loot, double their cash, and not even break a sweat. Cut back to Qing, sweating bullets, and completely lost. Savage monsters screaming? What was happening? The system screen flashed violently, announcing Iron Tail Strike had triggered. It delivers a crushing metallic blow, dealing damage based on the target's raw attack stat, with a hidden critical multiplier. Next up, Scimitar Throw activated, launching a deadly blade straight at the enemy, up to 10 meters away. The weapon boomerangs back, shredding health, for a massive 60% attack power. Then Stealth triggered, wrapping Yuan in a ghostly cloaking aura, making him practically untraceable. Finally, Backstab locked on, a lethal shadow strike from behind, guaranteeing a devastating 80% damage nuke. Qing was practically hyperventilating. When the heck did Yuan summon an undead army? This absolute massacre blew their swamp battle totally out of the water. It was purely legendary. Yuan tilted his head. Didn't he say he needed 0 prep time? Ching threw his hands up. What? He spawned an entire monster legion in under 24 hours. The system chimed, confirming 55 elite iron biters were utterly annihilated. Our main character casually praised his summons, leaving Ching completely starstruck, desperately wishing for that kind of overpowered strength. Suddenly, a violent rumble tore through the floorboards. Was it a freaking earthquake? He screamed Yuan's name in sheer panic, but bit his tongue. Yuan was in the zone, and Ching had to step up. No way was he interrupting the boss at work. It was time to pull his own weight. Spinning toward the shadows, he locked onto the threat, tracking the tremors to the deepest, darkest corner of the tunnel. But then, dead silence. The shaking vanished completely. Smash! A monstrous, spiked vine erupted from the bedrock, launching Ching through the air like a ragdoll. He crashed hard, staring at the nightmare unfolding. A colossal, grotesque tongue thrashed violently against the stone walls, leaving Ching absolutely paralyzed with dread. He scrambled to raise his guard, but the demonic vines relentlessly crushed him back into the shadows. Ching crashed hard into the dirt, shrieking in pure terror. Thorny vines quickly coiled around his helpless body, aggressively hoisting him straight up. He shrieked as the grip tightened. But right then, a blinding emerald flash violently pierced the suffocating darkness. In one flawless strike, Yuan completely shredded those cursed vines. He scoffed, mocking this pathetic, dirt-eating monstrosity. Hiding underground like a coward, he dared to pull these cheap tricks in his absolute presence. Foul blood splattered everywhere. Yuan ruthlessly yanked his terrified companion by the collar, dragging him away. Once they hit safe ground, Ching gasped for air. He frantically screamed out his savior's name. That behemoth was absolute bad news, and they had to bail immediately. But without warning, the ground violently fractured into massive craters. Time ran out. The colossal nightmare erupted right before their eyes. A deafening roar shattered the air. System alert. Level 20 boss. Health, 6,300. Attack, 850. Defense, 280. Lethal abilities, Iron Tail Strike, Impenetrable Fortress, Earth Vein Penetration, and Poisonous Sand Vortex. They froze, entirely stunned by the beast's overwhelming aura. Ching trembled violently, his voice completely cracking. The mission mentioned a basic iron-biting iguana inside the molten bloodscale cave. This was the absolute dungeon boss. He desperately apologized. His stupid mistake had dragged them both right into this absolute death trap. Offering to sacrifice himself, he begged his friend to escape, but a fearless smirk crossed Yuan's face. A terrifying monster? To him, this overgrown lizard was simply walking loot. Ching's jaw basically dropped to the floor. Had he completely lost his mind? The behemoth viciously charged forward, shaking the entire earth. Exploding off the dirt, our hero commanded the beast to embrace death. His terrified companion screamed out, but the warnings faded. He unleashed extreme agility, chaining his devastating skills together flawlessly. A razor-sharp phantom blade ripped through the air. System warning. The boss triggered Iron Tail Strike. That ridiculous metallic tail tanked every single hit. This oversized reptile was totally breaking the rules. Without hesitation, he unleashed the heavenly spiritual seal. Blinding emerald shockwaves violently engulfed the cavern. Touching down, he intensely analyzed the beast. It was incredibly still standing, radiating absolute fury. Did that massive blast even inflict any serious burn damage? Suddenly, an ear-splitting roar triggered the devastating poisonous sand whirlwind. A toxic storm materialized. Every single hit drained a brutal 3 to 10% of maximum health per second for 5 entire seconds. The boss unhinged its massive jaws, charging raw magical energy. A catastrophic beam locked dead onto our hero. Ching shrieked in absolute panic, begging him to dodge. At the final millisecond, he vanished backward. A smoking, pulverized crater replaced where he had just stood. The battlefield was utterly ruthless. This fight was escalating way past his initial calculations. Without warning, that lethal steel tail crashed down. Barely sidestepping the devastation, he grinned wildly. Now things were getting fun. He instantly commanded his Eagle Lord to awaken. The summoned beast heroically intercepted the boss with a thunderous cry. An epic clash of titans shook the earth. Ching watched in pure awe. Was this incredibly majestic undead warrior truly his new shadow soldier? Absolutely breathtaking. But wait, system alert. The summon prepared its lethal backstab. In response, the boss deployed Impenetrable Fortress. Its defense aggressively skyrocketed by 150% for 10 seconds. The eagle successfully landed a blow, but that annoying metallic tail countered violently. Our quick-thinking hero immediately warned his winged general to fall back. Witnessing the boss strike, Ching gasped at its god-tier reflexes. Did this freakish mutant possess eyes on its spine? Yuan's mind raced at lightning speed. Eyes on its back? He rapidly analyzed the lizard's biology. They utilize basic vision, relying heavily on subtle light shifts. When prey freezes, they become practically invisible. However, any sudden motion, combined with their insanely acute hearing and smell, exposes even the stealthiest assassins. Furthermore, certain reptilian breeds possess pure infrared vision to perfectly track the vital heat signatures radiating from their targets. That made this beast dangerously hyper-aware of any dynamic movement. He desperately needed a brilliant trap to corner this nightmare. Surging forward, he rained down multi-directional strikes, aggressively taunting the beast. He challenged the monster to test its absolute limits. What was actually tougher, those pathetic armored scales or his devastating fireballs? The iguana shrieked in absolute fury as Yuan completely pivoted and tactically sprinted away. His genius plan was working perfectly. He just had to maintain its blinding rage. Qing panicked violently from the sidelines. That creature's defense was unbreakable. Simple magic wouldn't even leave a scratch. The risk was absolute madness. Suddenly, he watched in pure shock as Yuan bolted straight toward the undead horde. A wicked smirk crossed Yuan's face. It was time to go all out. He slammed on the brakes as the massive iguana got completely swarmed by monsters, wildly thrashing around. Our guy stood there, thinking, this brainless beast was totally out of control. The boss let out an ear-piercing roar, jaws snapping wide open. Yuan told it to eat up. Instantly, the system flashed, confirming he activated the corpse explosion art. Boom! A deafening shockwave shattered the cavern, raining massive boulders absolutely everywhere. Its heavy armor completely shattered. The colossal iguana shrieked in absolute agony before collapsing hard into the dirt. In a flash, Yuan launched himself skyward, screaming for the Lord of the Eagles to strike the left. He parkoured across the falling rubble, exploiting its fatal flaw. This oversized lizard had zero peripheral vision. The beast lunged right at his face, but his phantom eagles dive-bombed its blindside. The monster unleashed a blood-curdling screech as blinding light erupted across the battlefield. This ultimate strike was sending that raid boss straight to the grave. Yuan's blade pierced its core perfectly. A golden glow surrounded him as the system confirmed a massive level up, officially crowning him level 14. The mighty boss dissolved into nothing but ash and smoking ruins. 5 minutes passed. The interface chimed, confirming his vital stats bounced back to 85%. Skill check. Dark Curse, Gold Tier 3. It shreds 20% off enemy health, or heals 20% for undead units. Cost is 60 mana, a 6-second cooldown, plus 200 out of 300 mastery points. He realized spamming this could quickly max Dark Curse to level 4. And honestly, even though triggering Corpse Explosion woke up the entire graveyard, the payoff was insane. System Alert, Lord of the Dead Iguana, Iron Biter, level 20. Stats check, Health 6,300, Attack Power 850, Defense 280. Moveset includes Iron Tail Strike, Impenetrable Fortress, Earth Vein Penetration, Toxic Sand Vortex, and Corpse Body. This absolute tank was his new meat shield. Right on cue, Jing totally lost his mind, screaming in pure hype, staring at the fattest loot drop they had ever scored. Were they seriously about to swim in all this gold? Yuan scoffed, eyes cold. Why flex the loot now? They still had a couple of dirty rats to exterminate. Cut to the commander squad. They just steamrolled their own fight, leaving the cavern choking on thick, toxic smoke. Stepping over the carnage, Kui yanked his chain weapon, smirking like a total villain. Those clueless newbies were not even worth his energy. His lackey laughed, totally kissing up, saying it was all thanks to their captain's genius strategy. He could totally one-shot a Lord-class monster if it spawned. With the aggro fully cleared out, it was finally time to steal the boss drops and dip. The squad sprinted for the exit, ready to loot the dead. But suddenly, a blinding flare erupted right behind them. Shrapnel ripped through the air. The captain whipped around as his entire squad scrambled to block the heavy barrage of flying debris tearing up the ground. Kui raged, demanding to know who dared pull a sneak attack on the legendary Ebony Guild. Stepping through the dense fog, Yuan and Jing looked absolutely menacing. Yuan asked if somebody was looking to loot some corpses. Maybe they could just do it themselves. An Ebony grunt panicked, screaming that this was impossible. They were supposed to be completely wiped out by that mutant iguana swarm. Jing fired back, calling out their absolute trash behavior. He actually thought they were top tier and honorable. He never imagined a major guild would use low-level players as actual meat shields, just to cheese a dungeon clear. A guild rat scoffed, saying that dying for the Ebony Guild's glory was a massive privilege. For worthless NPCs like them, Kui froze, completely short-circuiting as he tried to process how these guys survived an impossible death trap. Were there not literally dozens of high-level iguanas swarming those pathetic losers? Jing savagely roasted their non-existent morals. Kui glared at the loudmouth, feeling this weird, creeping sense of dread, but his ego quickly replaced it with pure fury. Time to delete these pests. He had no clue. What busted RNG kept them alive? but their plot armor was officially expired. Snapping his weapon, Kui lunged for the kill. Yuan yelled at Jing to fall back. Did this arrogant boss really think he could solo them? Kui kept wildly swinging his blade, while Yuan effortlessly parried, then totally dropped his guard. Kui sneered, asking if this was some pathetic, low IQ illusion magic. Yuan smirked, unleashing his spell. Cursed skulls instantly locked onto the hostile squad, zeroing in on the captain. A dense smokescreen blinded Kui. He frantically scanned the shadows, realizing his prey had vanished. Yuan materialized in his blind spot, launching a lethal ambush. Bro, did you honestly think I was that predictable? He whispered. What a total scrub, the captain sneered, boasting that veterans knew lucky rookies always needed to watch their backs. In a blink, the captain straight up evaporated. Yuan blinked at the empty air, finding himself stranded in dead silence. Before the confusion could even set in, the ruthless guild leader materialized right at our hero's neck. With a twisted, murderous grin, he hissed that trash like him were destined to perish, launching a devastating strike. A blinding shockwave of energy violently erupted across the battlefield. Ching shrieked our hero's name in absolute panic, and a cocky guild grunt smirked at him. You're the fresh meat, right? Warm-up time is over. You're next. Ching frantically backpedaled. Meanwhile, the captain, assuming he had utterly crushed our boy, spat. Perfect. I'm done playing games. Just accept your fate. He dove in for the fatal blow, but abruptly froze mid-air, his smug face completely draining. Wait. How? He gasped. Yuan just smirked cold-bloodedly. You're supposed to be the Ebony Guild's third squad leader, huh? The veteran was shook, paralyzed by the impossible dodge. Yuan flashed a demonic smile, his voice dripping with pure menace. Guess the main city's elite guilds are completely washed. Without even looking, Yuan effortlessly caught the captain's full power punch. Bones crunched. The leader wailed in absolute agony. Yuan's eyes ignited with terrifying mana before casually yeeting the massive dude. He smashed through solid boulders, collapsing into a bloody heap. What kind of monster are you? He choked out. I totally miscalculated his stats. Don't just stand there like NPCs. Get over here and heal me. His lackeys blindly roared their battle cries, charging the protagonist all at once. But Yuan just chuckled darkly, sighing that they were just low-tier fodder, completely boring him. In a flash, he warped through space, manifesting his aura, summoning massive phantom eagles that ruthlessly snatched the grunts into their spectral talons. The captain watched, horrified, as flaming skull projectiles locked onto his coordinates. He petrified in pure terror right before the blast tore through his HP. Face-planting into the dirt, he heard the Grim Reaper's slow footsteps approaching. He desperately begged for mercy, screaming that killing him would trigger the entire Ebony Guild's wrath. Think about the aggro, he pleaded. Yuan casually glanced at Ching, who was literally clinging to his leg with maximum fanboy energy. I always knew you were a walking cheat code. I literally risked my life for you, Ching sobbed. Yuan mercilessly kicked his simp away, ordering him back as he raised his blade, stating coldly, From what I've gathered, your little guild isn't just wildly toxic to solo players, you actively backstab your own members. If I drop your HP to 0 and you lose your gear, they'll rip you apart. How are you going to justify feeding to a newbie? Utterly broken, the captain surrendered, desperately asking for the ransom, to save his precious levels. Yuan's eyes narrowed. I need the exact roster of your guild's top-tier rankers, including their hidden classes, base stats, and builds. Back in his previous timeline, that mysterious first follower wielded bizarre, glitch-like abilities that totally broke the meta. This target definitely possessed a mythical tier hidden class, and his true identity remained a complete mystery. When the captain hesitated, Yuan ruthlessly drove his blade right through his palm. A blood-curdling shriek echoed across the zone. The protagonist casually twisted the steel. So, are we dropping the intel or what? Bleeding out and hyperventilating, the captain frantically swore he'd leak everything. Seconds later, a digital scroll materialized, and our overpowered hero snatched the data. Scanning the elite roster, he noted a few ultra-rare builds, but absolutely nothing matched the broken stats of his past life nemesis. Trembling, the captain whimpered. Boss, can we log out now? Yuan turned back with a frighteningly gentle smile, agreeing to spare them. The PKers immediately started praising his mercy. Psych. Without warning, devastating beams of raw magic obliterated them. That's for all the low-level noobs you griefed, he roared. Explain that to the respawn screen. Ding. The system chimed, gifting him the Moonwash Devil's Hammer, a silver-tier weapon, boasting a plus 45 attack power, a massive 30% crit rate, and a flat 30% damage multiplier. Its unique passive, accumulated energy release, permanently buffed his initial strike speed by a solid 20%. The loot drop also included the Berserker Blade Dance, a bronze-tier weapon granting plus 30 attack and a 20-point accuracy buff. Finally, He bagged the Bronze Future Light Gear, a sleep class item granting 20 bonus points to both magic damage and spirit power. Scanning the wreckage, Yuan spotted his sidekick awkwardly, lugging a massive treasure chest, begging him to appraise the loot. Yo, the boss hasn't even unlocked this premium cache yet, Ching hyped up. Alright, bet, the protagonist sighed, offering to take first pick and leave the scraps. But Ching instantly objected, flexing his wallet and offering to buy the whole drop. Amused by his pay-to-win mindset, Yuan just shrugged. He didn't need this low-tier garbage anyway, telling the kid to keep it all. Ching agreed, promising to wire the funds over in a heartbeat. Soon after exiting the cave of molten red scales, 54 shimmering gold coins hit his account. Yuan smirked. Just as expected, it was all basic silver-tier gear. Snagging gold-tier loot in the current game patch was basically impossible. Ching stepped closer, lowering his voice with insider intel. Yuan raised an eyebrow, demanding the details. Ching warned him about the Ebony Guild's toxic reputation. If you crushed them in-game, they relentlessly hunted you down in the real world. Ching suggested hiring bodyguards for protection. Yuan just scoffed, brushing it off. Thanks for the heads up, but they are literally just annoying bugs. And he knew exactly how to squash them. Later on, Yuan finally logged off, ditching his VR gear for dinner. Pushing away from his setup, he headed for the exit. But the second he swung the door open, a massive, downright terrifying dude blocked his path. Yuan instantly went on high alert. The towering figure, his dad, pulled off a VR headset, asking if it matched Yuan's gear. Did it glitch out? Yuan assured him the tech was running flawlessly, but what was his dad doing with gaming hardware? His mom had stumbled across it while organizing Lin Tong's bedroom. Yuan's mind raced, wondering if his sister had already unlocked her hidden class in his previous timeline. Just then, his mom stepped into the hallway, scolding them for standing around. Dinner was officially on the table. Over dinner, she teased that his dad was utterly clueless about modern gaming tech. He merely wanted a way to bond with the kids. The poor guy spent hours battling the headset without even finding the power button. Flustered, his dad immediately denied the wholesome claim. He swore he was only checking if she had accidentally wrecked the gear while dusting. That was his only excuse. Meanwhile, Yuan realized that pulling his parents into the infinite world meant showering them with elite, top-tier gaming resources. Plus, they could actually survive the impending apocalyptic cataclysm. He casually mentioned that mastering the gameplay was a total breeze. He promised to buy them 2 fresh headsets, urging his mom to dive in. She immediately scolded him for burning cash. Yuan brushed off the expense, telling her to relax. Then he casually asked if Lin Tong was home yet. Glancing at her screen, his mom figured she was just out partying for Friday night. She told Yuan to focus on his meal. Pulling out his own phone, he insisted on checking in. But dialing her number only triggered a cold, automated voicemail saying she was unavailable. The automated voice repeated the exact same frustrating message about her being totally unreachable. Yuan's instinct screamed. Even if she was annoyed, she always fired back a quick text instead of ghosting him. His mom gently nudged him to finish eating. She assumed Lin Tong was grabbing dinner with her squad, so waiting was pointless. Yuan abruptly pushed back his chair, telling them to go ahead without him. He made up a fake excuse about racing to the store before closing time. His mom stared, visibly confused as his fresh dinner grew ice cold. His dad chimed in, telling her to drop it. Did she forget how those 2 siblings used to be completely inseparable? He honestly had no clue why they suddenly drifted apart, so letting them bond was crucial. His mom silently nodded. She sighed, admitting Yuan totally sucked at showing affection, but his big brother instincts were undeniable. A dark memory flashed, his past life, where his little sister stumbled home covered in nasty, purple bruises. He had begged for answers. She had just iced him out, snapping that it was not his problem. She fiercely forbade him from alerting the cops or stressing their parents. Snapping back to reality, Yuan knew the truth. Back then, after booting up the infinite world, she quickly unlocked her broken, hidden class, but dragged herself into hellish danger. His precious sister never deserved that nightmare. The pure chaos kicked off the second that shady faction emerged, the infamous System Organization, a highly classified syndicate forged by 9 elite chosen ones, fiercely gatekeeping entry into their exclusive system. Their ranks included a literal prophet capable of tracking awakened players in reality. They deployed shadow operatives to aggressively recruit these rare talents. Growing at a horrifyingly fast pace, the syndicate's raw power became downright unstoppable. Worse yet, their shadowy grip over real-world society was expanding like a deadly virus. Despite their wildly erratic and cryptic operations, they miraculously maintained public order, making their true endgame completely impossible to read. Once Lin Tong was dragged into their ranks, she constantly ran suicidal black ops, hiding the brutal truth from her family. He desperately prayed they were not involved yet. But honestly, no matter what, he refused to let her blindly fall into that trap again. Hitting the neon-lit streets, Yuan frantically tracked his sister's trail. Out of nowhere, he spotted her casually chatting with a corporate system operative. They were chilling inside a corner cafe. Yuan instantly ducked behind a brick wall, his worst fears completely validated in that moment. The syndicate had already sunk their claws into her. The distance was too massive, making their secret conversation impossible to eavesdrop on. But blowing his cover was not an option. He had not triggered this specific ability in ages, requiring absolute, dead silent focus. Activating his shadow stealth, he seamlessly vanished from plain sight and slipped indoors. Yuan smirked, noting his cloaking magic was already sitting at level 3. The phantom state only held up for 5 minutes, but that was plenty of time for his infiltration. Across the table, 2 imposing figures locked eyes with Lin Tong. Hao Cheng, the faction's sharp-eyed agent, deadpanned that he had dropped the ultimate truth bomb. Believing this insane reality was entirely her call now. She absolutely needed to join their ranks, and not just for the guild's benefit. Because when the apocalyptic nightmare drops in exactly 3 years, she would awaken just like them. She would literally save humanity. Xiao Pan flashed a cheeky grin, teasing that he was totally terrifying the poor girl. He seriously needed to chill his intense vibe. Hao Cheng barked back that this was life or death, and it completely dictated her entire future. Suddenly, his aura flared. Sensing the main character spying, he triggered his artifact's dispel ability. A glowing system prompt warned that stealth would shatter. In exactly 3 seconds, the main character immediately dashed behind concrete cover. Hao Cheng smoothly yelled to the barista for an iced tea. Why play dumb instead of just ordering outright? He ordered a cup to go, acting totally normal. The hidden main character sweated, realizing this guy definitely flexed that ring's dispel magic. Thankfully, that 3-second grace period saved him. Sipping his cold drink, Hao Cheng smoothly slid his sleek business card over and prayed she would reconsider their massive offer. A true hero would never just ghost them when the literal apocalypse hits. Whenever she finally decided, she just needed to dial that digit. Lin Tong snatched the card, nodding. The duo then stood and strutted out. Xiao Pan flashed a warm smile, promising they would wait for her text. Once they vanished outside, the main character instantly reactivated his stealth skill and shadowed them. Hitting the pavement, he found absolutely 0 traces. Totally bewildered. Did they just evaporate? Out of nowhere, Hao Cheng smashed his drink against the concrete, growling that his gut feeling was dead right. The stalker had ghosted right before the anti-stealth magic fully popped. Hao Cheng stared at the shards, muttering he might be overly paranoid. Xiao Pan smirked, telling his partner to seriously chill out. He needed to take a breath. Besides, would that girl actually join their squad? Hao Cheng replied that based on the Oracle's vision, her arrival was straight up inevitable. Xiao Pan nodded along, adding that their psychic VIP had literally never missed a prediction. Honestly though, he cared way more about which gorgeous waifu he would eventually marry. Hao Cheng clapped back that he needed to survive the doomsday first. Xiao Pan scoffed, waving off the distant apocalyptic threat entirely. Meanwhile, the main character, perched high in a tree, watching them, realized these guys were insanely overpowered. A single second longer, and his cover would have been totally blown. He felt utterly outclassed in this vast, dangerous universe. He definitely needed to play it safe, and immediately dip from there. Moments later, Lin Tong, clutching the mysterious card, stumbled right into her brother, utterly confused about why he was lurking outside. Gripping a takeout bag, he casually claimed he was making a late-night snack run. She was probably starving by now, right? She really shouldn't stress their mom out any further. He brought back some top-tier grub, hoping she would finally eat something decent. The main character walked ahead, sighing that she was basically still a clueless kid. She literally could not survive alone. Soon, they reached home. Their mom scolded that she was totally losing track of reality. Did she even bother eating with those friends? She offered to microwave some leftovers immediately. The exhausted girl declined the food, begging her sweet mother to just go get some sleep. Their mom glanced at the main character, noticing his empty stomach too. She insisted on cooking up a midnight meal. Upstairs, Lin Tong collapsed onto her mattress, suddenly realizing that seriously bizarre phenomena were starting to mess with her head. Booting up her game, traumatic flashbacks hit her of violently clashing with monstrous mantises alongside Xiao He in that digital nightmare. She had screamed for her partner to run, acting as epic bait for the horde. Suddenly, a massive beast lunged directly at her throat. Lin Tong roared for her friend to retreat while she held the line. As the vanguard, retreating like a coward was never an option. She had to face this. She furiously charged in, deflecting their deadly claws with insane reflexes. Without warning, a monster teleported behind her, delivering a bone-crushing strike. Suddenly, a glowing system interface popped up, announcing a legendary hidden skill awakening. Unleashing raw power, Lin Tong blasted multiple terrifying monsters simultaneously, ultimately crushing the insectoid ambush with pure absolute force. Gaining some precious distance, she unleashed her ultimate technique, the dazzling blade of dawn. Right then, she questioned if this insane power was actually bleeding into reality. Her physical body literally felt upgraded. If Doomsday truly dropped, just like Hao Cheng warned, she could become a savior. Was she truly capable? Even if her aura could not fully stop the apocalypse, would her loved ones even survive? Staring intensely at a framed family portrait, Lin Tong debated accepting that crazy guild invitation. She desperately needed a massive power-up right now. She would literally die to protect them. Meanwhile, the main character sat alone, glaring deeply at that same family portrait with a heavy heart. He absolutely had to relocate his family. Grinding in-game demanded his full focus, meaning he couldn't play bodyguard 24/7. It was time for a major life upgrade. Stepping into a high-end real estate agency, a sleek consultant immediately approached him. She politely offered a standard tour, but our main character didn't want basic. He demanded their most exclusive, ultra-secure, luxury villa. She secretly scoffed at his young age. Could this kid actually afford luxury? Smirking, she questioned if he understood the price tags. These elite estates cost an absolute fortune. Without blinking, our hero whipped out his sleek bank card. He hadn't checked the price, but knew his funds were limitless. The agent grabbed the card, her jaw dropping instantly. A legendary VIP black card. This required tens of millions just to open. Was this kid a literal god of wealth? Employee number 2345 was now at his absolute service. Days later, the hero brought his parents to their jaw-dropping new estate. His mother stared, totally bewildered. Was this reality? He proudly revealed their new sanctuary, a massive private pool. It looked straight out of a billionaire movie. His dad wandered inside, absolutely stunned by the master bedroom's massive size. As they explored the luxurious mansion, they regrouped in the grand living room. Trembling slightly, his mom asked about the terrifying price tag. She begged him to cancel the sale. His dad agreed heavily. They refused to burden their son with crippling debt, but he just smiled. Zero mortgage. He bought it straight up with cold, hard tournament cash. This safe haven was for them. He'd stay nearby to dominate the game. Tears welling up, his dad confessed he never imagined living like kings, all thanks to his amazing boy. His mom beamed with pure pride, realizing her little boy was finally a powerful man. Later, in a dark alleyway behind a store, he verified the estate's top-tier security. Next step, getting his parents hooked on the system so they'd stay safely indoors. Suddenly, heavily armed thugs blocked his path. Their leader, Kui, smirked evilly, boasting about tracking him down. The hunt was finally over. Unfazed, our main character recognized the notorious Ebony Guild leader. Without warning, the bald thug lunged, mocking his in-game combat skills. Time to test those moves in reality. The entire gang charged like wild dogs. A thug jumped him, screaming that disrespecting their boss meant absolute death. Smirking coldly, our hero instantly activated his stealth ability. Pathetic speed. In a flash, he materialized mid-air, dropping a devastating strike straight onto Quay. He systematically crushed the remaining goons. Grabbing a heavy pipe, he coldly mocked their blatant death wish. These annoying pests just wouldn't quit. Trembling in absolute terror, Kui frantically begged for mercy. He pleaded for his pathetic life, promising high-value intel, a secret, hidden quest. Intrigued, our hero ordered him to spill it. Sweating profusely, the thug revealed a legendary blacksmith named Huo Xian. Next, he must trigger a massive mineral delivery mission. Once that NPC's trust maxed out, he'd forge top-tier golden armor. Memories flashed. Someone in his past life had indeed scored that epic gear. Rumors linked it to a shadow NPC. The intel seemed incredibly solid. Gripping his weapon with deadly intent, he delivered a final, chilling warning. He could completely erase him, both in reality and the virtual world. Threaten his family again, and he'd be shattered like glass. Paralyzed by fear, Kui frantically nodded. Logged back in, our hero navigated the sprawling western desert. Hitting the moonlit night tavern, he spotted the drunkard blacksmith, Huo Xian. The old man instantly demanded exactly 100 rare minerals. He warned the kid not to play games. Those clean hands definitely hadn't seen hard mining labor. But pull it off, and he'd craft an epic weapon. Our hero knew the intel was flawless. Next stop, the treacherous mines. Suddenly, the stunning Matilda tried to exit. Some random creep aggressively snatched her wrist, forcing a drink on her. She fiercely rejected the total stranger, demanding he back off. Ignoring her completely, the scumbag dragged her closer. He whispered creepy promises. Catching our hero's deadly glare, the arrogant trash aggressively barked at him to look away. He threatened to blind him. Boom! One lightning-fast strike folded the creep instantly. Our hero coldly stated, "That trash shouldn't waste oxygen." Heart fluttering, Matilda gazed up at her handsome savior with absolute awe. She nervously offered to buy him around. Brushing past her, he casually rejected the sweet offer. Pouting, she chased after her mysterious knight. Suddenly, she tripped. In a beautifully smooth motion, he caught her mid-fall. Blushing deeply, she whispered about his perfect dancer's rhythm. Overwhelmed by alcohol, she instantly passed out in his strong arms. Tucking her safely inside a tavern room, the main character charged straight into the pitch-black mine. Staring down the colossal wolves, his mind instantly flashed to those 12 defiant dogmen guarding his underworld gates.